Welcome everybody to the WBC Podcast, episode 2. We're going around the table. We got expert opinions combined with expert entertainment and definitely some interesting conversations. So welcome to the family. Appreciate y'all being here.
You got a new gig, huh?
Yeah, I mean it's temporary, but it could lead to something.
Right.
I'm teaching math, which is out of my natural element, but it's not like it's difficult.
Right.
Sixth and seventh grade.
And it's all on the resume. You can have it on the resume, man. That's going to increase your hiring potential. Would you want to teach that if somebody really hired you for it?
Right now? Yeah.
Yeah.
Normally? Nah.
And I couldn't do it.
I mean,
and really, and with the distance learning, these core teachers it's elementary though where I'm at. So you getting like all the subjects. But these core teachers, man, they doing a lot. I couldn't do it, man. But it's just like I choose PE because I don't want to be on the computers doing this formal school grading, all that stuff. Like that's not me. We choose PE because we can live that. It's a lifestyle. It ain't just teaching. It's easy. Like, you can show up and worst case scenario, I'm gonna still put on a good performance just because we live this stuff. But doing that core teaching, man, that's a whole nother world. But sometimes you got to do what you got to do.
I just see every time I'm in the classroom, I see the slow deterioration of the fabric of the coming generations, and how the school systems keep patty caking them instead of like truly getting to helping these people or, separate them and put them in their own shit. You can't have 20 kids, 15 of them niggas are slow learners and 5 of them is accelerated and think, you're going to have your grades right. They're going to meet these quotas and all of this shit.
I ain't really learning.
Any motherfuckers you would think this nigga say, if I just literally tell you some shit and then I ask you the question and they fucking like looking at you like.
Right. But that's what they're used to. And you got to think when you're going into that, they're used to the management plan of the teacher that was there before them. And man, I go into teachers' classes even now. Like I used to go in as a campus monitor, so I would see all the classes at different times. But now as a PE teacher, there's times where I'll still be able to see because I see all the students. But you see different management styles, man. What are y'all doing? Are you serious? How do you expect to teach a class? Man, beans.
Dr. Little, Dr. Malcolm Little.
Hey, let me fix it.
So nigga only put the glasses on when he do the podcast.
You must like the glasses. You talking about the glasses, man?
Why you putting on
glasses, man? You must like these, man. Why are you so interested, man? You want some?
Need to give you some of them.
You might need some, man.
Couple of them Walgreens reading glasses.
Nah, buddy.
I'm messing.
Get a prescription,
man. You might could use you some Malcolm X's, Bean. Hey. That might be the difference right there.
I like the look.
Hey, 40's the new 40.
Yes, man. 40's the new 30, ain't it?
And no, that's that young shit, man. I can't wait to get old. 40's the new 40.
You say you want the wisdom. I'm okay with that.
Man, come on, man. It all gets better. We fine wine. We vino. We fine. We get better.
You don't mind the salt and pepper?
Hell no. No, we get better. You know, IG don't mind it.
Who was it? Yeah.
IG halfway to Coutinho Mobley.
Yeah, exactly. Who was it we was busting balls on this saying about the dyeing it?
With what?
We remember we was busting balls about somebody dyeing it.
Oh, LeBron.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know,
LeBron dyeing his grays, you said?
I think
hell
so.
yeah. He's all over that. Hell yeah.
It's an image he got to uphold.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he don't want to show it, but he show it a little bit, but then he try to go back to it.
That's the image. That's the image you got to uphold. I just think that's what we got to start. Remember, it was in the summer, Ivan, is just let it be. Just whatever it is. Be he was talking of being who you are.
Exactly. And it looked like in the bubble, he was cool with that. The hairline was just rocking it. It was natural.
All right. He took the headband off, but he did the grays for a minute and he showed it, but then he dyed it. Like he didn't last that long with it. In the bubble, he switched it up. He was all dark after like the first couple of games.
Let me get that jet black right there. Yeah, two-pack.
Like that all the way. Yeah, but I mean, like I said, man, getting old, I think it's part of the programming people get into where you're supposed to look at it. I want to stay young. I can't get old. I don't want to, man. It's quality of life. Get your healthy habits together, you know, and enjoy that process of getting old. Having kids, I can't wait to have some grandkids. Well, I don't want to hurry. I don't want to knock on wood.
Yeah, slow down, man. Damn.
But that process, that phase of life, like that's something to look forward to. That's what I really mean. You know, these next phases, it's not something to regret. We can't hear you, Haas. We can't hear you.
He got his headphones in. Yeah.
You do. Man, Bean, you wasn't on yet. We was just talking about that the summer before we went to senior year where we made those trips. You remember how SEI and Triple Threat was kind of rivals for together, and they came together at that when we was going into our senior year, and then Haas just said, I didn't know he went down to Phoenix with y'all, and then we had to Vegas, so it was two different places where we went.
Yep.
Early was just on. I'm gonna see if he getting back on here.
Yeah, that was a pivotal summer, man. Like that was just like a pivotal summer for a lot of us, man. Like it wasn't just one player.
That junk was fun. Like that,
it was fun, but it was just like nonstop hoop.
Yeah, that
nonstop.
Spring, remember we went to Shemeketa?
Yep.
SCI team. That spring and that summer was really kind of my piece of my coming out party, where I finally
had some fun with it, man.
You hear me now?
Yep. Gotcha.
Okay.
I didn't know nothing about no damn AAU prior to that right there. I didn't know if you'd be like, hey, you know, they got that AAU going down there. Huh?
Yeah.
What are you
Without
talking
going
about,
to the
man?
SCI.
We're going over here to Salvation Army, man. I'll see you later.
Yeah.
I didn't know what AAU was.
But that's where the Triple Threat and SCI kids, we all knew each other.
Yeah.
So we were all like playing against
I didn't know that was called AAU. I didn't know that.
Some basketball.
Right.
You've been like Triple Threat? Oh, man, it's workouts, it's clinic.
Right.
I mean, that's like how I associate it. But you're like Triple Threat's AAU?
There go Carl Jr.
There you go.
I don't really look at it like that.
Yo.
I was just about to send it to you. I was just trying to send it to you.
You know, it don't take much for me to get off track. I was like, man.
You said
hey,
that
look,
country
I
flow.
accidentally found it the first time.
Yeah, I was like, Earl done. He ain't coming back up.
Yeah, Hassan know that it's all 100 on that.
Yeah.
I was like, man, what?
He said, you told me I got to click the button twice?
Again?
I just didn't that. Nah, man, I'm about to cook these hot links, man. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Instead of switch gears.
And you got the
See,
Super Bowl.
I was in a rhythm, man, but I'm gonna go ahead and cook these wings and stuff, man. I'm gonna talk to you guys later.
And you got the Super Bowl tomorrow.
Man,
Yeah, I got the big shenanigans text, man.
how you got it?
You there.
Yeah. I'm gonna be coming from workouts afterwards, so I wouldn't be able to get there till like 4 or so.
Man, you know, I ain't.
Right
Yeah.
on time.
Yeah, no, man, I'm like, I'll grab some pizza or something. I'll figure it out.
Right on
Yeah,
time.
nah, it's not
And I
good.
want to be there. I got the
We just
kids,
gonna be
man.
chilling.
Hey, man, and drop them kids off at the daycare, man. No.
Man, exactly, man. You know, I will put them at the river if I can.
And Earl said, no kids or women.
Yeah.
Didn't say that. That's B's version. Look at it.
Ain't no,
Hey,
look at
no,
that,
Hey, he
what's that
specifically
RZA
put
line?
it on
Ain't
there.
no time to grab the guns. You got to get the women and children. What is that?
It said, "Hey, wasn't me." It said, "I look right in your face."
Before we got cut off, though, I was trying to say, I think based on the hype and stuff where Dennis Nathan and Tyrone were at, like those two lived up to the hype and were the two best high school prospects moving forward that I saw during our time. Like those two, not only with the hype, they had it, and then they lived up to it in terms of real on the court production. Some other people had the hype with Brandon Brooks, and he still balled, but I don't think he was them two. KZL,
I got 4.
Jay Frank,
Matt got
our
it.
generation, Freddie
Hey,
Jones.
my 4. Tyrone Man.
Let's hear
Love.
it. Let's hear
Tyrone
it.
Man Love, Jay Frank, Matt Santangelo, and I'll go with that's our era. Dennis was a couple years behind,
He was.
but I'll go with Dennis. That's my 4.
But
Yeah.
what about David Jackson?
He came on later.
David Jackson,
Came on later.
I definitely say.
His was different.
I mean, he played pro.
That's
I'm talking about the
He
hype.
wasn't as like naturally gifted. He was like
No.
an Ime,
No.
a little bit
Yes,
ahead.
but
of
he
Ime.
got big numbers in high school.
Yeah.
Warranted
He was ahead
height.
of
Like
Ime.
he averaged over 20, and he went to Utah out of high school.
That was a good. He was on a good
They were
track.
winning.
I saw the track.
Yeah.
They put him on a cold track.
Yeah.
Goliath was kind of there if we want to go there.
But when you
Goliath
talk about the
was kinda
hype, though, Matt, are you meaning like something that maybe started freshman year and on, something hype before high
just
school? Because like some people, you know, when you start talking about like this, like we said, like Tyrone, for instance,
Mhm.
man, that man, that
That's like
brother
eighth
was hyped.
grade. I was just
That
saying,
was
I
a
remember
different
him being
level.
on the Oregonian
When I was
cover
at
in
fifth
8th grade.
He was
That was 8th
Yeah.
grade.
Yeah, in the triple threat shorts.
But you
I'm
remember
trying
that,
to
yeah, on the Oregonian.
Yeah, with the black shorts with the little blue
Doing
outline.
the jumper, like he was something like this.
like,
Man,
and so for what he was able to do from having like, it's almost like being like a child star.
That was kind of
And,
the
you know,
LeBron
some
hype.
child stars, when the younger that you have to like live up to that hype, man, it's a tough.
that's really hard.
But here it is though, and this is something you can relate to, IG. You remember Shea Cotton?
Yeah.
The way he was hyped, like Tyrone and Shea Cotton were like in Portland.
I was just gonna say that.
Tyrone
Yeah,
was
man.
bad, and Shea Cotton was national though.
When it-
What was Shea Cotton? What was
Hey,
Shea
man,
Cotton
for the West Coast,
like?
Yeah, we from Portland, Oregon, man.
Hey, from the
Remember
West
that?
Coast,
LA.
Give us a little Shea Cotton, IG.
Man, first time I even like saw Shay, I was in the 7th grade at Carson High School, and you know, I had heard of him before, but I never played against him to this point. And I remember we was playing, and we looked down on the other end, and the dude was doing windmills with the full like clean.
How tall was he?
Clean. How what?
How tall was he?
At that time, he was probably about 6'5". You know, we 7th grade. I don't know. I'm probably like
Wow.
5 something,
Wow.
maybe just barely. No, I don't even think I was 6 foot yet. Yeah, this dude was for real the man child.
Man child. LeBron. Yeah, LeBron of that generation.
Hey man, I put it this way. So our team, we played against Shea every year from eighth grade, freshman year, sophomore year against PTI. For the West Coast, him and Tyrone had the most height at that age group.
Yes.
But every time we played, it was a Tyrone Manlove show, man. The Tyrone,
I talk about that stuff now, right now, Haas.
Tell him, Haas.
You got, it's different. I still got video if we played PTI at in LA.
He got a video.
I got video, man.
And we used to watch the video.
Tyrone. So Shea Cotton scores. He does his thing,
man.
But it looked different.
Yeah. I bet. He didn't play with a high level of savvy or IQ. He was
bully ball.
strictly better than niggas.
And bigger.
He was bigger and better, but Tyrone
that
looked
bully
different
ball a little bit.
Tyrone was actually LeBron James.
Man.
Tyrone was getting the ball,
those shots, athletic
on fools,
turn around.
He was pushing off the break. He was a guard. You know what I'm saying? Tyrone was
Howard was making him one as an early age.
And then started at Wilson as a freshman.
I got video of Tyrone bamming all over PTI. Man, Shea was bamming on us too. I was underneath the rim, but I was doing a bunch of this.
But the difference probably between them two, I mean, he might have been better, skill wise. But I bet whatever team Shea played on probably had about 4 or 5 niggas that they paying, that they flew in, or there was all like. So he wasn't. It was just like they had
more big.
Probably all the Tyrone Manloves on one team.
Right.
So the team we played against every time was Lujimi Man, Shea Cotton, Jason Hart, Sean Jackson. There was a white dude who was a shooter. He was like 6'6", but I'm talking about
was a guy.
Yeah. Another. He was. But yeah, that was their squad.
Sean Jackson. Damn.
The best player was Lujimi Man. Like
exactly.
He was the best player.
Game.
He was probably the LeBron of that time in terms of tall guard from the LA region anyway.
Hey man, Lujimi Man was Magic Johnson. I had never seen it. I said, this is Magic Johnson Jr. Because he was he was cold.
Where did he? I remember that name. Where did he end up going to school?
Gangbanger.
So he didn't go.
He went to
he signed with UCLA, didn't he?
I was gonna say, that's why I remember the name.
He ended up going to Santa Ana Junior College.
But back then, when we played them in high school, that's the first time I seen somebody like gang banging during the game. Every time he hit a three, he was throwing up the B's, and he was like, "Oh, he's a gang member."
Yeah,
he was serious.
Your boy Shea Cotton. When I think about him and Manlove, Shea Cotton had them 2-foot bunnies, like where he off of 2 feet, man, was something. It was like Dominique Wilkins, man, or something. Like how explosive he was, like that. And he was good for a long time. Some of like how his whole thing went down with eligibility and all that stuff, like his start, to me, is kind of like what stunted his growth more so than just
basketball.
His game wasn't quite good enough or nothing like that. Like if everything would have went according to plan, he would have had his shots to be in the pros. And then you know how it is for in the pros, depending on where you get drafted at, who you get drafted to, that makes all the difference in the world in terms of longevity in the pros. And so the talent was clearly always there, but some of the stuff just didn't quite go down right, where he wasn't able to. Wasn't it UCLA he was supposed to go to, and then ended up not being able to go there because of some stuff that happened.
Well,
and
some
then
of that happened with Tyrone too, where he was on his track of being like he could choose wherever he wanted to go. Then remember him and Howard kind of got into it a little bit, and then some of that kind of, and then at Oregon could have been one of the best players at Oregon ever, but ended up transferring. Was at Colorado actually when I was down there playing at Mesa State. He was at University of Colorado, and he was putting. I remember seeing him on the newspaper down there. Like he was putting in work down there with Colorado, but it didn't work out. And then he ended up with Beans for his senior year.
He got into it with Ricardo Patton at Colorado. I know that happened.
Yeah.
Did he go to Texas first?
Yeah, he went to Wayland Baptist NAI in Texas, and then he came to Cascade.
He killed down there though, didn't he?
Yeah, wherever he got a chance to play, like he averaged like 14 or something when he was at in the Big 12 for like 13 games.
Colorado, no, he was balling. I told you, he was on the paper, like in the paper, like all the time.
I think a 20 piece down there. And then he averaged almost close to 25 with us at Cascade.
Yeah.
Scoring machine, man.
So he had triple-double against George Fox. Like, it's like you guys said, he wasn't a one-trick pony like that. And we all know Ty, man loved competing at a high level with ball, but then always gave like an appreciation or respect. He wasn't like, an asshole about it. Right. But he knew like, man, I'm superior. But there was a respect there, man. And he'd always be willing to pass on tips and help out. Like, I think he wanted greatness against him. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And he was always cool off the court.
Yeah.
I mean, and I don't know if you guys got a personal type of story that you want to share. I got a quick story when I was going into my sophomore year, and he was finishing my sophomore. He was finishing his freshman. So we were going into that, but it was like that right at the end of the year. And we did that Kermit Washington camp. You remember that, Beans? Yeah. So we went to the first day of the camp, and Beans, y'all was working at the camp. Yeah. And then Tyrone, we ended up just on a humbug playing one-on-one. And this is me where I'm at as a no-name, and Tyrone as he already was. Like, he was already in the mix, played varsity as a freshman. And so we ended up playing at the end of camp one-on-one, and it was he ended up beating me like 11-9 or something. It was a close game going to whatever we went to. And then he was like, man, come tomorrow morning before camp. Like, we're going to play again, but with nobody watching. Like, it's just going to be me and you. But it was on some like, man.
Did he get you? Did he get you?
So we ended up playing. I showed up like, yeah, I'll be there. Like, what's up? So we went there, and then overall, he ended up getting me. Like, we ended up playing like 5 or 6 games, and he ended up winning more than I won. But I wasn't supposed to be there. Like, at that time, that meant a lot to me to solidify what I thought about myself, being able to compete with him, even though he ended up getting more games than me. And then me and him had a different level of respect for each other. I remember Toos ended up going to Wilson for a minute. And he ended up saying, they ended up talking about it. And then he ended up saying, like, yeah, my brother told me y'all was playing at Jackson. He got you a few times. And then Ty told him, like, nah, yeah, y'all, we was going at it. Like, had him a little story about, yeah, we did this. And then, yeah, he was balling something. But nah, that meant a lot, just going at him. And that, Ty was so big at that time. Like, man, to be able to just be on the court and compete, like, man, that meant a lot for me, knowing what I could do, man. So I don't know if it's other personal. I'm sure it is, because you guys competed just like even more than I did with him. But any stories y'all got, personal hoop level or whatever it is, and even you, IG, coming in, when you came in, I'm sure you still knew who he was at that time.
I did, but I didn't have any personal rapport with him until, I don't even know. Ooh. I can't say exactly. Maybe somewhere in the summer of, I don't know if it was my freshman or sophomore year, just hooping around Portland and kind of expanding the network. I remember when I first seen him, I had a respect for his game, but I was like, I remember Haas tell, he pumped him up. So he's like, you let me know who he was. And I was just like, okay, I could see it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just kind of like a lot of people that like we talking about, even like the Shea Cottons, them dudes was ahead of their time. So by the time I caught up in the race, it didn't hit me the way it affected y'all. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense.
But
you're right.
You know, that would even more say the way I look at dudes like Shea and anyway. So it's like, yeah, y'all just jumped out the gate early, but he was always a cool dude. You know, never. It's funny, man, because basketball, you know, dudes that come out on that court and try to live an alter ego, or you know what I'm saying, try to, you know, be something that they not when they not on the court.
Right.
A lot of dudes like to use intimidation. You know, a lot of dudes, and being from LA, coming to Portland, being new on the scene, I experienced a lot of that. You know, dudes was trying to test me. Dudes was trying to, you know what I'm saying, see what I was made of. And it was funny because I never experienced none of that with him. You know, he was just always a straight up solid dude. You know, he played hard, but he was never trying to like intimidate, punk, talk shit, or do no crazy stuff.
That wasn't even his personality.
Not at all.
Yeah.
Right. Cool,
yeah, but like IG said, once you get to a point where like them cats jumped out early, and then by the time we was in college and stuff, man, it was the playing field had evened out some.
Leveling.
Because it got, you know, even like by my senior year, you know, me and Tyrone, like I'll say 8th grade is when I met Tyrone. And I remember I had moved from LA out here and went to Beaumont, and then I was out there, but I was playing for Beaumont, and so I'm killing everybody. And I remember Brandon Hobson and was like, I said, man, I don't know if there's an 8th grader out here, man, that can mess with me. And they was like, man, you gotta see our boy Tyrone. I was like, man, I didn't see Tyrone until Brandon Hobson and Sean Jones got me on ASP.
Oh, not Sean Jones.
Hey, after the first practice, I was like, hey, man, this is the best dude I've ever seen in my life. Hey, I had never seen nothing like that.
Man.
Yeah, because
ain't Sean Jones nicknamed Jinx, right?
Jinx, you're right.
Jinx.
Right.
Yeah, man, he cool as a fan.
I had grew up, I grew up playing the Crenshaw Y against all these cats. Like, we play against Watts. They come in the game, they got jeans on, hooping. You know what I'm saying? They like you beat them, they ready to fight. You know what I'm saying? Right. So I remember my dad was like, hey, get your stuff, let's go. Game's over. We ain't hanging out. Yeah, but yeah, man, love, man. From that time when I played with him on ASP, man, it was like, that's when he was like, he's the one that brought me on the triple threat.
Yeah.
He was like, hey, man, we got to get him, and so we just always been cool, man.
He was already with Howard, wasn't he? I remember Howard being a part of that Oregonian article.
Well, right after 8th grade ASP kind of season, that's when he went to triple threat. So he transitioned over there. Gotcha. I remember I was seeing him. He had on
that when he was in that on the front page of that magazine, palming the ball. It was in that ASP jersey before like triple threat and stuff.
I don't remember. I don't know.
You talking about the Oregonian, Earl?
I just remember, man. I mean, I remember that dude. I remember Ty having like being on the front of a magazine cover, like in middle school, man. Like, we
the Oregonian.
He played for Whitaker for football, and so how Whitaker had that outside court, and I just remember him always coming, and he was a year behind. And we'd be out there playing hoop, and he'd come out there, man, with pads on, still got on his shoes, cleats, and it was cold as hell. And I used to just be looking at him like, first of all, them Whitaker hoops wasn't regulation. So you know how that big long court was. Mm-hmm. He shoot deep bomb 3-pointers, and you remember how we used to play like them crunch games where it'd be 100 people out there. Right. And it used to just be amazing to me how the same people be winning.
Yeah,
the crunch game.
Yeah,
and the ball always
used to get his wins.
He always was getting wins and hitting deep threes with 50 people around him, and I was just like, who in the hell is this dude, man? And just
skill.
Then you went and watched him play wide receiver, and he was
Kill
Reggie
it.
Moss,
Kill him.
Megatron. Like he was cold as like
Kill him.
one of well for me, like how IG was saying, at the time of your life when you meet people and they make an impression on you, he was and still is the greatest athlete that I used to be encountering on a daily, man. He was like when you say LeBron James-ish,
Right.
I is the first person when I think about people doing the Euro step, just everything, man. And so
But
yeah,
he had the
just
1
be
foot,
able
the
to
2 foot,
yeah, right. And just
either one.
yeah, deep threes and dunks, man. I was like, man, that brother had that.
But he had pull-ups. He could play make. You know, he could throw
Yeah,
a
he was
dime.
all, and he had dimes
Post
on
you
the
up.
under, like that you wouldn't
Wasn't selfish.
You wouldn't have gave him enough credit for his passing, because he definitely could pass the ball, but he was just so dynamic at them deep threes. Like
he
I
could
mean,
have
them
shot
deep threes,
more.
them dunks was
Hey.
so.
He could have
Like-
shot more.
Yeah,
Like think of him
hey.
like him and Jay Frank was kind of on that same kind of level when they was both. I mean, Jay was a little bit older, a year older, but Jay was a scorer. We know what he was trying to do. Ty could have been that, and maybe even probably even more, but wasn't even like played all the stuff. Like wasn't as concerned about trying to shoot every shot, and
Hey,
played
man.
with David Jackson, who was another first team All-State player eventually.
They had to share balls with.
Tyrone scored a lot of points. I seen like an he averaged. So I don't know if y'all heard Deion Spencer did like a little thing because remember that team Oregon Elite.
Who Deion did?
Yeah, so Deion did a little story. Like we went down to Oklahoma. It was Oregon Elite and Triple Threat went down there because they came like in second in state. And so we go down there and I think he was talking about. He didn't say the name. I think he's talking about Sean Murray. He was like, "Yeah, my teammate. He's a cold hater." I was like, "Oh, that sounded like it was either Sean or Peter." And he was like, he said, "Yeah." He said, "Man, I'm tired of hearing about Tyrone. Man, love. We hear enough about him in Oregon."
Yeah.
And then the next morning we wake up and Tyrone's on the front page of the Oklahoma newspaper.
I read that article.
Yep, standing looking down. And they was like, it said #1 player in the nation.
Wow.
This age group, #1 player in the nation. And that was the national tournament. And in that tournament,
Sean Murray.
this dude averaged.
Sean was his grade.
Well, first game out, he had 50. First game out, 50.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying?
Cold,
50. And then he averaged probably about 38, 39 that whole tournament, man. It was like it's amazing.
That's some of the stuff.
Put that ball in the basket, man.
Yeah, man.
But I was gonna say one thing about Jay Frank was that especially when Frank was younger, like in middle school, Frank, like he had an amazing, like not hop bounce to him, but like just a spring to like how he moves and his steps and stuff. And like you didn't even really realize it, but like his passing ability and stuff like that, like he used to throw dimes, man.
He was a point guard our freshman year.
Yeah, he was a point guard, man, the whole time. So when I think about Frank, he kind of like when we got like the high school, turned into more of a scoring machine
later on, right.
But when he was young, man, he used to drop dimes, man.
But nah, and I remember when
he
y'all
still
were
threw dimes to me the whole time, but it's kind of like the same thing, like where his offense started to like overshadow some of like his the playmaking, but playmaking ability was always there, man. He was a amazing basketball.
Talk about this. What position did Jay Frank play as a sophomore?
The four.
Power forward.
Exactly.
He
had the game. Ricky Briggs was balling.
Yeah.
That year, but Jay Frank played the 4 and was balling. Like his game was different than what it ended up evolving into.
Right, yeah.
I hear totally what you're saying. And he played point guard as a freshman. I was on that team.
Yeah, he played point guard as a freshman. Well, him and Gary Burns.
Him and Gary switched later. They switched later.
Yeah, towards the end of the freshman season.
They
shared the
responsibilities that year because
the difference was that between
against him.
Jay Frank wasn't nice about it when he was playing. He was mean. Talk trash till you push on
Like, he
you.
wasn't as
He
nice.
was mean. Like, man love was nice a little bit. Man love had a little bit
Man
of.
love would give you 30. Wasn't really saying a whole lot.
Yeah,
Yell when he dunked.
And man love might whisper in your ear something.
Yeah, Jay would have a lot more than that.
But Jay Frank will talk to you the whole game.
And
Jay
like
Frank go dunk on you.
And I will say this: Jay Frank probably had one of the most. His junior year, man, was electric. Man, that dude put on a show. I remember us having maybe like a 3 or 4 game streak. Cleveland was on there. Franklin was definitely on there. Where this brother probably went for like 35 plus.
Yeah, beans. He dropped like 30
full game straight.
On though,
it was 5 on reverse dunks. He probably dunked the ball in these games about 4 or 5 times. Major deep threes where it was just like, man, it don't matter about no play you're calling and none of that. It was just when he caught it, it was like in your jaw, man.
Right.
Put in work. That was his DNA. That was his DNA to put in work like that.
It's kind of like when people talk about
he reminds me of Carmelo a little bit. Just their mentality of the way they want to score.
Hey, so my sophomore year, I was still at Jesuit, and the 2 dudes that came into Jesuit and put on the greatest shows I've ever seen in my life was Jason Franklin.
I remember that. I was at that game.
And y'all don't understand what Matt Santangelo did at Jesuit. I mean, this dude was flying through the air, reverse dunking. I mean, it was amazing. It was. And that was my boy. I was like, I was impressed. And that was my partner. I was like, oh my God, what is he doing out here, boy? Yeah, man, it was crazy.
When them lights came on, man, he was out there. I used to be
ask y'all this.
Dang.
Let me ask y'all this. How do you think Tyrone and Dennis would have compared as pro prospects?
You said Tyrone and Dennis did what?
How would they compare as pro prospects, as NBA prospects?
Oh, man.
Because I think Dennis.
Go ahead.
They both had what it takes to go pro.
Yeah, both had that.
Sure. I think without the off the court, they would have been there.
In terms of the pro stuff, man, people's games Dennis' game wouldn't have to change.
Right.
The other dudes' games, like Tyrone's game, would have had to change a little bit. Shea Cotton's game would have had to change.
Yep.
That's the reason why Ime made it and certain dudes didn't, because there's certain things that you used to doing that he wouldn't have been able to, that you wouldn't have been able to do. So like ball handling for Love at an NBA level might have been a little thing. You know what I'm saying? And then
he may fit into that 3-and-D mode.
If you 6'3", 6'4" in the NBA back then, you was Terry Porter 6'4". You know what I'm saying? You got to be a point guard. Mm-hmm. And so stuff would have changed. Dennis could have came in at 6'5", ran a point easy.
Right.
At an NBA level. You know what I'm saying? That's what he did.
Change what he did.
Yeah.
Man, you ever hear 2 people tell the best stories about Dennis Nathan? One is Pickle Lewis, Craig Lewis's dad. Got some amazing Dennis Nathan stories. And one of the funniest ones, though, is Billy Moore, Mr. Moore, telling some Dennis Nathan stories. And all of them end with him hanging on that rim, like just throwing the ball off the. I mean, you know, you talking about the stuff that T-Mac and Vince Carter and I mean Ben Simmons. You know, you can name on 2 hands how many people you done seen do it in your lifetime in a game.
Jones did a little bit.
Throw the ball, Kobe.
T. Jones.
Actually, Kobe Bryant in the All-Star game, I think it was. But to do it in a real game, man, where you know, playing basketball and then as one of your moves, you throw the ball off the backboard and catch that mug and you 2-hand reverse. I mean, that stuff is amazing, man. Especially when you talk about dudes doing it in high school as like sophomores and like juniors. Like,
hey man, yeah.
And Dennis made a hell of a jump from because he was at Cleveland with us. His freshman year, he played varsity and balled on varsity, but he wasn't that dude yet. And then sophomore year came.
But he was cold though, always though.
He was
Dennis
good.
Nathan was
He wasn't
cold.
that
I
dude
remember him when he was in middle school as a little kid.
had skill.
He had game. Like
Yeah,
always
had
He
skill.
just
I'm
didn't
saying he
grow
played varsity as a freshman. How
to
many
that
people?
body.
Like he played varsity as
He
a
was
freshman,
cold.
and he
That's
put
what I
in
mean.
some work.
He was cold, man.
But he wasn't athletic. Like he was barely jumping over a
He
piece
just wasn't
of
as
paper.
tall, but he was though, Mac.
He was
But
about
I'm
6'2".
trying to tell you, man. I'm trying to tell you, Earl. Listen, from his freshman to his sophomore year, he made such a jump. Like his athletic ability jumped, his height, he jumped from like 6 foot to about 6'4". But he was such a monster athlete at that point, and he had the guard game and the skill and being able to shoot and everything. Beans, you remember we had that horse dunk contest, and now I was a junior when he was a freshman. Now we're seniors; he's a sophomore, and I was already dunking and doing athletic stuff, and I was like on the team, probably most athletic. Then Dennis came in, like, man, I could do whatever you could do. I'm like, man, no, you can't, man. We started playing horse. Man, we played for like 15, 20 minutes or something, just doing dunks. He doing it right back after me, but was like super athletic after that. And then from his sophomore to junior year, he went to Gresham and just exploded.
Hey, man,
like, on fire.
So we played Gresham. I don't know what we played him at Gresham, and so Central we came in here. I think I gave Gresham like 35, and I'm talking to Dennis. You know, that's my little partner. I'm talking trash to him. Man, that they came in. This is the first time I ever seen the white patent leather Jordans, and so Dennis came to Central, had them on, and man, he gave us 42. Had about 4 dunks, but it was so cold. And I mean, I never heard nobody's ever talked to me like that in the game before. I never been talked to like that before in the game. It was straight payback, man. He came in there and put on the show.
But look at D-Son, get what he's talking about, man, because we had a different experience. Well, not say different, but just we was 2 years older than him. So when he came there, it was like we was like mentoring,
showing him the ropes a little bit.
Yeah. Right. He was learning stuff, but it was like that when he came back that next year, man, it was like the wild horse bust through the stable because he was telling Daniel, whatever dunk you can do, I can do. And Daniel did a dunk, and then he'd go, boom, what I tell you. Whatever you can do, I can do. And I told you I can do anything you can do.
It wasn't no easy dunks. Like it wasn't just no.
You did one where you did a bow. You did one where you tapped the neck twice. He did he was like, and did it emphatically like, I can do what you can do. What, you're not the big dog no more. He was like,
it was. Let it be known.
He got big, man. he got big.
He was legit 6'5"
skills. I remember hearing a story where he was at Indiana playing. I wasn't there, obviously, but
I think this is a team with him and Craig Lewis and them.
Nah. In the pros when Freddie Jones was in Indiana. Yeah, Freddie was in Indiana. I remember hearing the story where he was at a practice or open gym scrimmage, whatever it was, and he was balling. And then Larry Bird at the time was coaching him, and he was like asking him about what his situation was. But, you know, Dennis had life off the court that always played a part. Mm-hmm. And then it didn't work out. But in terms of being a pro prospect, I think Tyrone and Dennis both would have been more of a pro impact type player than Freddie Jones or Ime. But the off-court stuff that Ime had obviously carried him, I think, even farther than Freddie. Because Freddie had some hype behind him, and then he went to Oregon, did what he did, and then had a solid NBA career. But Tyrone and Dennis, compared to Ime and Freddie, like, who would y'all take?
Yeah, just the talent and the stuff that they were doing back then.
Because Freddie was two-time Gatorade Player of the Year in Oregon.
Right.
And I think the only other one, our group was Tyrone. Tyrone was two-time Gatorade Player of the Year.
Freddie was amazing.
Yeah, Freddie was.
Freddie's 3-time Oregon Player of the Year.
Freddie was
right. 3-time Oregon Player of the Year. Right.
Freddie Jones was.
Didn't he get Pac-10 Player of the Year his senior year or something like that?
Junior year.
Freddie Jones was cold, man.
At Oregon.
Junior year.
And I think the difference between how cold he was, because some of his greatness, because in high school he was cold, but I think that playing with my man Jared Price,
Josh Omer.
who was a nice point guard, and then when he went to
Hey.
college, when my man Luke Rittenauer came to town, man,
Right.
it just opened up Freddie's game.
No, now that's about to be what I'm about to speak on, Earl, because I'm about to say this. Your boy Freddie is like a 5-star athlete. No doubt about it.
Right.
Basketball player, low IQ. That's why when a dude like Rittenauer, who know how to fucking play, got IQ, can set the table, make it easy, makes him look like a draft pick.
Yeah.
You can't put Freddie on your team and say you about to win some shit. You know y'all gonna have some highlights though.
In high school, you could.
Yeah, it depends on what years you're talking about. Because everybody, when you go up the higher levels, then like whatever you do well and the things that you struggle with just get magnified, you know.
True.
And so I remember telling somebody about like my basketball career. I said, I feel like I was pretty good, all except for 2 seasons in my life. You know, and they the 2 seasons that mattered. Like I was like, when I high school, I was nice basketball player. JUCO, I was a nice JUCO player. I got to Pacific and I sucked. And then I didn't suck just my sophomore year. Then I sucked my junior year. And then I went to Cal State Dominguez Hills and I was back cool again. You know what I'm saying? And it was like,
you went to Dominguez?
Yeah, I went to Cal. I was a Toro. From Compton. I know about it. Avalon.
Okay. Man, that place is like they have totally just changed that place.
It's off the chart.
Hey, we
still got the little shorts.
Hey, Earl,
I can tell you some funny stories about down there too on some just crazy California games.
Here's my thing though, you could put it in the same generations in terms of basketball without the off the court, which we know in reality you can't separate. But in basketball terms, Dennis against Freddie, and then Ime against Tyrone. Like, who are you taking just basketball wise?
What years?
Well, that's where the off the court comes into play.
He's talking about
that's where we got to be isolate.
Take different people.
Of course, and that's where the off the court comes into play because the habits that you need to have to really be good over time, those are going to show. And then no matter what your talent is, I mean, we saw it even from even younger ages, people that weren't that talented. I remember, what was his name that we were talking, Anthony Son, I think it was Anthony Miller, that won Mr. SEI like in our 7th or 8th grade year and never really played hoop again after that. Like, people have different levels of when they retire, so we can't really just judge. They went farther. But I'm talking about in terms of just basketball, pure basketball, what we saw in talent, ability,
you know a nigga that got IQ or not. Come on,
you already know who we taking.
Difficult,
you already know that
for Earl, a point guard. You could tell if a dude plays with a high level of savviness or if he strictly relies off of his athleticism.
I know what I'm talking about. Yeah.
You already, Daniel, you already know who everybody going to pick in each one of them categories.
Yeah. I was talking like this ain't even no.
But the thing that Freddie and Ime had is a different mentality because I talked to Isaac about this.
Absolutely.
You got to have a certain mentality to be a pro.
True. Very true.
There's certain lifestyle decisions you make.
Right.
Things you do that you saying. I tell Isaac about Ime all the time. When we be in Florida State kicking it all that, Ime's in the gym.
He ain't doing it.
Him and Bino.
No, long term, that stuff ends up. I mean, you got to have some talent, some skill, but that long term, that carries you more in terms of life.
Right.
Whether you end up landing in the pros or you go overseas or you have a career, like that's the stuff that I still feel like as a PE teacher, I had some off the court stuff without the on court talent and ability but basketball carried me to where I am now. Bean's got a career right now where his talent wasn't the same as a Brandon Brooks or something, but it still carried him to a life career based on how his off the court approached it. And so I do think that there's a higher potential of value from that off the court, just habits, and
Like,
definitely in life.
Like if I was going to answer what I think Daniel's question was when he's talking about the comparison in those guys, the reason why to me it's almost like kind of like a loaded question is because
about 5 minutes.
knowing the outcome already
Right.
of what happened with everybody's careers, based off of where they all kind of came from and started from. If I already know the outcome, why would we not go with the professionals?
True.
And so I'm going, so now the professionals, and here where I give Ime props. I didn't really know Fred that much when he was younger, but E for sure to me is you talking about guys who had what we would consider professional approaches
Mamba
before they were
mentality.
so you can be a professional at anything that you do. Somebody might be an actor, artist, we basketball coaches, trainers, whatever it is, but you know the difference between when you got a professional approach to something versus you just getting money or accolades because everybody just say you professional because what you went to college or because even you went overseas or you made it to the pros. Shit, it's probably professionals that don't got a professional approach. And so when we talk about
it.
Ime Udoka, who might arguably be the most professional personality out of a lot of people in our
generation.
I mean, my goodness. I mean, we're talking about like the sacrifice and discipline. Like, so now if those are the questions on which these people that we think got the most sacrifice or discipline, because the people that we would choose at the end would be totally different than the people we would choose during the process. I'm going middle school and high school. It ain't even close. I know who them brothers was cold, but from a professional, hell, I was better than some of the people come early days, but it wasn't in the cards like that. And so you're talking about having some of the ability. You got to have the ability. The Lord have to first give you some talent. You can't be talentless in this professionalism. But once you got the talent, where a lot of people start at that level, man, once you start being 6'4", 6'5", man, you're a professional body type. We say prototype. 6'4", 6'5" body, you can go pro.
That's what you
now.
You got action.
What is it that's stopping you?
Yeah,
that's the stuff you got to find out.
Because somebody look at Hassan, what all sports you could have been professional in?
Right. Football.
Daniel couldn't have been no professional football player.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we all be professional baseball players.
There you go.
Prototype body.
Me, Earl, and Ivan meet the prototype of that. Daniel and Haas, they got action. Like, well, they football. Right. We could box, wrestling. There could be some different.
Absolutely.
Right.
But out of that lottery in that contents, we ain't
out of the 95 and 96,
nothing to deserve that.
Out of the 95, 96 class, Ime wasn't the one I would have ever even thought of.
No, that's what Earl's saying. Like, he wasn't even close.
Not even would have thought about it.
Yeah.
Here's another comparison. Who would you thought it would have been better out of T. Jones and T. Ross? And now T. Ross done sustained himself.
It's the same thing that you're talking about.
Come on, man.
Same stuff.
Yeah. Well, here's another question, man, to kind of push things forward, just a content pusher. Who do you guys think in the NBA reminds you of you? Or who do we think reminds each other of us?
I like that.
I would say that in my
year
terms,
again?
I think I got a mix of,
Some years I was cold.
Game, man. We gotta be able to just say we know how we played, especially if we wasn't in a system of college or high school. We going to the gym and playing. To be honest, I never thought, a little bit at the Basin, where I really played my game the way I would play at open gym at the college level or system. You know what I mean? In Cleveland, I think I had some my senior year, and then at the Basin a little bit because I was still killing up there, but not really the way I went to open gym and played.
Yeah,
I wouldn't have played like that the way I did in college. I would say for me, maybe a Sean Marion.
I was gonna say the same thing.
I would say maybe
Sean Marion.
something like that.
Or Corliss Williams.
I was gonna say Sean Marion for you.
I can see that.
Daniel.
I can see that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Who do y'all think? Because I could say something for all y'all if you want me to go first.
You go ahead and go first, D.
Ain't nobody got none?
What for you?
Well,
I was gonna say Sean Marion.
I could go for everybody.
Yeah, I think that Corliss Williamson for you.
Who?
I can see it. I can see that.
For D, or I can see
For
Sean
who?
Marion. Corliss Williamson.
For Daniel?
But I was more, he was more beastly. He was more beastly.
He's
Yeah, Hassan.
He's player of the year in college basketball, man.
Jeez, you are a fucking pure fool.
Hassan,
He looking for light-skinned bald head.
You said what?
He looking for light-skinned. He gonna say Boozer next.
Hey, D said, you know I'm not trying to be funny, right?
Big baby.
No, we clowning. I'm just having fun. I think Corliss Williamson is a good pick, but I do think he had more girth, like more beast.
He's like strong and stuff.
And then I think I have more athleticism than him.
Yeah.
Like I played with a more athletic, energetic type of role.
Yeah.
Yes,
and that's where the similarity to Sean Marion come in.
That's why I say with Sean Marion.
For running the floor, because you could get out and run the floor. That's what you did. You got up and get out and run the damn floor.
Right. And then I could give you a little bit of the guard stuff. That's what I think held me back. I didn't work hard enough at my guard stuff. Because really, me and Ime was kind of right going neck and neck.
We got on the Pistol Pete's late.
In that position, and then he just ran with it and became a guard. I remember Ime being in open gym like, nah, I'm not doing post up. I'm not playing big.
Yeah. He had to fight it for a while. Remember that?
I'm a guard.
He would fight it. Be like, man, get down low. I'm doing out here. Be like, man, that's stupid. Stop playing like that, man.
That was something he had to carve out in order to really sustain and end up being an NBA player, a 3-and-D solid type of NBA player. I know when I first saw Donovan Mitchell, he reminded me of IG, the way they move without the IG wasn't as athletic as him. Yeah. But the way they move and the way they kind of just had that calm demeanor on the court, just kind of controlling the pace. I think he remind me some of that. Corliss Williamson kind of got some Haas in him, where Haas did some of that with the bigger body and was able to
definitely got some of that.
I'm tractor trailer with Haas.
Have some skills. I mean, you got to think of a bigger body because that played a role. And me and Haas used to go at it all the time.
Or Big Baby or tractor trailer.
Big Baby might be a good one, but
I would think it got to be a big body dude that's undersized that gets more out of the shit.
Right.
Haas wasn't like funky.
Right.
Because, I mean, Haas was big for our level. If he was playing on a higher level, he would be an undersized big. But regardless of that, he still got more out of his size and potential, being an undersized dude.
But that's
I think maybe a more skilled,
Haas could mid-range you.
A more skilled Kendrick Perkins, but had more skill, like could do the shooting mid-range.
Way more skilled than Kendrick Perkins.
Kendrick Perkins couldn't score like me.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
I mean, he had more skill than him. You had more skill than Kendrick.
Hey, at P-State, I had some 30s and some bunch of 20s.
You could. Nah, that's what I mean. But you the ball in the post. They can throw you the ball in the post.
I want to see him in college too.
Hey, hold up! I just heard Kendrick Perkins talking like less than a week ago, and he was telling the story about when he was in high school, and he was just saying he went to a few different things. He was like, man, it was like he's like I'm way out. He was saying he was way ahead of high school players. Like that's what he had to turn pro.
Right.
That it was just he was destroying them. He's like, man, I was beating that rim up. I was tearing that rim up. He said
that's on the All the Smoke. On that.
That's what I just saw it on. That's what I saw it on. I saw it on that. Yep.
Yeah, well, I play with IG the most, so let's hear what IG says.
Yeah, IGZ.
Who you got for Haas, IG?
Well, I was agreeing with y'all. I chimed in. What you mean?
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
You didn't hear me when I was saying? I just said you was under. I agree with.
I heard that. Right.
Who we got for Earl?
He just wanted to hear your player.
Yeah.
Who we got for Earl? I know I got Beans for like a Rajah.
Kendrick Perkins didn't even go to college.
Rajah Bell.
He didn't. Huh?
Kendrick Perkins didn't even go to college.
He went right from high school.
Straight to the league.
He had to have been cold.
That's what I just was saying, Earl.
No, but I'm projecting. I'm looking at his pro game, the way he played.
I'm like, man.
You did
it. Different points in people's lives, man.
Come on, man. We can't do that though. We just gotta.
Earl, don't stop. Keep going. Keep it on him. Keep it on. He keep trying to get that wiggle out. Keep that shit on him, man.
We got moments. We all got moments. I'm just saying, in terms of what I saw him as an NBA. That's why I said, as an NBA player, who do we compare to? If we go back like that, of course, like. He averaged 30 or something, 15, 30 and 15
teams.
Like that's ridiculous. But I'm saying his role in the NBA, you couldn't throw the ball to him and he was making moves and doing little jump hooks or shimmy or whatever, drop steps.
That's unfair, man.
But of course, respect
the NBA, that was his role.
We're doing this for fun. It's for fun. This is for fun. Have some fun with us, man.
Man. You said for Earl, I'm gonna go Derek Harper or Patrick Beverly.
Oh, okay. I give him a more skilled Beverly. Derek Harper, that's a good one.
Well, that's why I said Derek Harper. Like you cut them in half.
I was gonna say Bledsoe.
Ooh,
he had the explosiveness like Bledsoe. I remember when Earl came back 2-hand dunking. I
remember one year I did that.
Hey Earl, you came back to Holy Redeemer, and
after
we all came back from college, and we had like a run there. It was everybody that just came back from college, and
had them big ass thighs.
Yeah, and he came back, and he was like, we're like
doing lunges.
Hold on, man.
I had major hops.
Yeah, it was just different.
Easy. But you wasn't jumping like that in high school.
No, that's what I'm saying. It was way different. It was like, whoa, hold on, man.
I'm saying like, but that'd be like me going, that summer I had hops, so then I was a dunker.
Now you got hops.
Because I had hops for one summer.
Kept doing it more.
I mean,
I'm
like, man, I know damn well I didn't consider myself no leaper.
Yeah.
Like, I mean,
Bledsoe ain't either.
Yeah, he got more.
Bledsoe, I think Bledsoe just with the.
I think that's
Bledsoe
a good one.
The steadiness, just being able to pick up full court, sweat you out.
Defense.
I think that's a good one, Bledsoe, because you were always like
he's smarter.
You were a major athlete, even though
you were smarter than Bledsoe. Earl ran a team.
Offensively, I think relative to the level you were at, you did develop the same as your defense and your athleticism was. Like you still had the skill to do stuff, but
he ran
defense and athlete was elite. Like, and then Oregon Washington game, Jason Terry had trouble. Like I remember a few specific plays where just sitting in front of him, moving your feet, sliding stuff.
But look at this. Let me here's a play on the for high school, because we were all being evaluated back then, and it was the Riches, the Marshalls, the Howards, all them. They had their evaluations. So think of back then, the two consummate point guards was Earl and Wendell, correct?
Yeah.
Now, think of the evaluation. It was Earl. I mean, like, what did Wendell not have to be a point guard was
offense.
No, forget all that. Come on, man. We grew. Come on, this is John Stockton type of
shortcoming.
Yeah, but
he didn't score.
But I'm saying, that wasn't. I feel like for Earl, he's stabilized. He's the equilibrium of a team. What's the name? Wendell could go because he had the flash and stuff. He didn't do that. Could he have done that? Who knows? But the thing that was more mature about Earl, I think why he played varsity probably over us as a freshman, is that he had a maturity to his game.
Right. Very true.
So that's a difference. I say instead of him
in life.
him and
maturity in life.
Yeah, but that transfer, that's what we're all learning at that time. Like we don't learn, we just want to play.
I hear what Beans is saying, and I'll say this is that Hassan and people that's been in the gym with me, they heard me say this before, is that I think that the best thing about me, like when I played, when I was pretty good, is that I knew what I couldn't do.
See, that's fresh, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, so I ain't trying to do all that crazy stuff.
I ain't know that stuff back
I was like, but could I do we all went to clinic and did like the little drills and stuff, but I got in the game and I wasn't trying to do the.
You was a volume shooter.
It was like,
what's the name would have tried?
I knew what I couldn't do, and I stayed away from that. And I tried.
Dan was going to try to UTEP two-step you and break your ankles.
And I was like, and I used to watch other people play, and I'd watch them and go, man, he can't do that. And it used to just amaze me to see people trying to do stuff that I'm looking at them going, I know you can't do that. Why are you even trying it? Is what
you say. I'm better than you. Why are you trying?
Man, yeah.
So I say Beans, Rajah Bell. What y'all say about that?
I can play make better than Rajah Bell. I'll take the threes and D's.
Who you got? Who you think, Beans?
Huh?
Who you think for you?
Man, I don't know if I'm all the way
around Lou.
No, man, I want Fred VanVleet.
Oh, VanVleet! You think you want to jump?
take
Beans is like kind of a I think Beans kind of remind me of like a version of like a Matt Barnes. But only just a not nearly as talking about on our high school level.
Yeah.
But not like
I hear you.
Obviously Matt Barnes is way taller.
Yeah,
but
Beans
more athletic. But I'm like the styles is kind of similar. I think the Beans kind of play with like that chip on his shoulder, kind of like how Matt Barnes had to play.
Yeah, and Beans will elbow somebody in the mouth.
I was I remember when me and Beans when Beans was when we was in high school, and I first like I had already kind of was like a little bit established as like a high school player, and then I went like probably stayed like a weekend or something over Bino's, and man, Bino getting up in the mornings, man, he going running, man, his brother is training, and I'm like this
in high school.
What in the hell?
I had to catch up.
Like, I thought we was gonna go hoop. And like just go. I'll go play against some people or something. Bino was training, and I was like looking at him like, man, but to me, that's that professional approach that I'm talking about. Is that it didn't matter who was the whole better thing, whatever that stuff. People gonna say what it is. The professional approach to me is what creates longevity.
I was just gonna say, being
like being athletic, you can be like a just say lightning in the bottle one time or something. You athletic enough, you get to the pros. But the people that I think that basketball people really appreciate and admire is the professionals, man. The people that can stay years in the pros, and maybe they just you just don't never hear nothing about them, man. And so
habits.
When you think about people at the highest level, I think it's one of the things I appreciate the most about LeBron James is that, and some of this we were saying about Tyrone in a sense is that when you find players that are that good, for them also to have a certain amount of humility and still be cool is rare, man. It's rare to see people be like that good and still be that professional. And like all the time, man. And so
we know that
when I saw that, man, it definitely stood out, Beans, man. at a young age going.
I remember you coming over and then you was like, well, man, where are they playing at? Like, man, we're gonna play later, but we're gonna do this in between. Like,
yeah, right.
Man, Beans, man, we used to really get it in on some.
Yeah, I was just Salvation Army.
Almost
Salvation Army
type stuff. Like we was doing stuff.
We started late, man. Like,
reminded,
was early on.
Trying to catch up.
Yeah, that's why we had to do that.
But we know in the grand scheme of life, like those habits are always, when it irons out in the end, they're gonna have a higher value and you're gonna be in a higher place. Like Beans had them habits even before he was really even good or dominant on the court. And then as we, even through college, like even after college, Beans was still getting better. Like it was, I would say your prime was after you were done.
Oh, hell yeah.
Competitively.
Better after college.
You know what I mean? Exactly. So that's where the habits of life, and that's almost like what we're talking about now. And we do got to talk about the call outs. Y'all don't try to think.
That's when, but look,
we ain't gonna skip the call outs.
And Haas, but that's when Ivan can really speak on it. When we were, I mean, we cultivated that stuff early on till we got it to where it was like, it was professional at that point when we were in college there and hitting the early weight room, the workouts, then hitting Portland State to play. Then, I mean, like, it was like pro-am over facility. It was something every day. I mean, Haas was all involved in all that stuff too. It was, well, that's what we cultivate up to the professionalism. I know for myself, I look back now, like that was, the process was learned for me now to pass the blueprint on. Absolutely. It wasn't about the, like you said, Earl,
pros.
It wasn't about the, you know, the culmination of the thing. Cause you said it was like, well, if I look at my career realistically, like the one that you wanted to have the success, like you had the great success early. If I look at mine, it's always like, I was always just kind of getting it and stuff. And like probably my best year, my sophomore year at Clark. But after that, it's like we understand it now. You go from high school to college. You got to like figure some stuff out fast. If you decide, say you had JUCO, now you got to go to a 4-year. You got to, I don't care what level you go to, you got to figure some stuff out fast. If you doing like where you went from a certain position and then you got to change the position, all this stuff is like quick learning. You said one of the most important things, knowing what you can and can't do. How many for all of us, when did that process settle in? I would say maybe probably not till about sophomore year of college for me, where I'm really looking at like, man, kind of stay away from some of this stuff. It's not before that. So all that maturity, you see how everybody comes in and develops at different levels and stages.
Right.
It's but I would say instead of Van Vliet, Danny Green, probably more like
he said Van Vliet.
Probably more like a Danny Green.
Said a Danny Green.
Danny Green.
You had a little,
I see that.
Because you developed into a shooter, like that was your role.
Yeah.
As you got older.
I remember the pro-am. I remember the pro-am up at Grant when Bino blew the nets off. And look at people were so hating on Bino in the crowd because they couldn't believe that Bino was out here. I mean, Bino might have hit 12, 13 3-pointers in this game, man. I'm not.
And lying. It was against Dickow. I remember.
You know what I'm talking about, B.
It was against
Dickow. I'm talking about blue D nets.
But the funny thing is, though, whether that was a college game or that game, that shit probably felt the same good. When you was doing it that day, you could have been at Duke or something. That shit would have felt the same. Well, maybe not.
Well, that's the essence of what basketball is, right? Like,
exactly.
Whoever is balling, that's what they feel like. You said it earlier. You like, man, I this place I play like my open gym. That's what you're supposed to say is like what your authentic game is.
Right.
And are you able to take that on? Most of us understand. We're clear about it. I was here. Hell no, not there. Like, you're lying to yourself if not, or you better get yourself good enough to do it.
There you go. Right. And why not? Because I know I can be honest with myself to say, really, if I grew more. Like if I was Sir One's height, I could have maybe had that same game I had and been a pro. But at
Hey,
my
if I was
height,
6'8",
my height, I needed to get better. I didn't work hard enough.
If I was
Do
6'8",
what I had to do at my height.
I needed to be a guard. My whole game needs to change.
But really, we should have been doing that, Haas, where we
Right,
said, nah, I ain't playing no big man right now.
And the cold part is all I had to do was just follow eBay, and I didn't do that.
Go.
I'm about to say, why y'all didn't just do what Ime was doing? Even
in
did
practice,
I did
he
that in
wasn't
open
close.
gym, but not the level that Ime did.
Right.
No,
Even in the P State practices with Ime's size and his ability, even when we did like one-on-one drills and everything, just because his size, I was the only one that could really body him up, get physical with him,
He knew his
and
game.
be aggressive with him.
I'm saying you knew his game. He could probably punk them dudes on a whole nother level because they didn't know him.
Yeah,
you knew him. You knew where to man, get out of here with all that stuff, man. I know where you
Yeah.
Hey,
I remember
I got a
IG and him used to go at it. IG used to go
because
up
IG
there.
wasn't going back down to him.
We used to go up there, but we was still like after we was done playing, like you said, Beans. That's when me and IG got together. Well, we started being roommates. Was
lived together.
We used to go to the facility, and then he was going there through the PSU workout connection, and then we was just going there through the Ime and Medina connection, and then we was like all working out, and then but we used to go up to PSU all the time. Like you had the keys. What you had the keys or the code or something, IG? But we used to go in there on the lake and just hoop.
And I remember
I used to go at it
when he first came.
But we was all going at it, like really hooping. Like, and we ain't pros. Like this is after college, but we going doing like after hours type.
Oh, real workouts,
hooping.
like some
real workouts and hooping. Yeah.
You're telling the truth.
Hey, so my question is that I know what mine was, but did you guys ever have a reality check where you was like, man, it's a whole nother level of man that's going to the NBA?
Yeah.
Did y'all ever have that reality check?
Well, I think more so because I knew that people were better than me. But honestly speaking, when I put in my work, I felt like I could compete with whatever. And I end up showing myself in different times of being able to play, whether it was a facility playing, going against Ruben or Gary Trent or whoever it was, Cliff Robinson, or if it was like the different overseas things I did. I knew what's up when I wasn't making them choices to work out and them lifestyle really commitments. Like, man, nah, they really doing it. Like that's the shit that really intimidated. Even with Ime, when I knew talent-wise, I might have more than him, but he's working harder than me. That's intimidating. You know what I mean? Like, someone's putting in more than you. Like, man.
Well, for me, the eye-opening experience for me was my sophomore year in college, where like Bino just said, my goal is to get overseas. With me,
switched the goal.
Hey, we went to Cameron Indoor and played at Duke. When we left here, I said, "There's a whole other level of person that
I remember
that's doing that. That's not me."
That was on ESPN. Didn't y'all lose like 80-30 or something?
80-30. Come on, man.
It was something stupid.
It was like 150.
That was during the time when they was cracking
130-50.
No, that was during the time when they was cracking niggas by 50.
I know, yeah.
Right. But they didn't crack us by 50 though.
They got us by 50.
It was a beatdown.
They got us by 50.
They got us, but they didn't get us by that. They wasn't getting us like they was getting everybody else.
I remember it being on ESPN. I remember that.
At the first half,
y'all know I was supposed to go to Portland State.
We went into the halftime. We went into halftime. I don't know.
It was down by it was like 25-40.
And we got to look that up. I want to say it was at least. I want to say like 84-39.
No, we lost by 50.
I feel like I see.
We had 50 points.
They got us by like 30 piece. They got it cracked. They went by like a 40, 50.
84,
I'm 100%
59.
sure it was 50 on the dot.
Okay, what was the score?
It was like 100-50. I'm trying to tell you.
Man. Come on,
but I'm trying to tell you that when it got to the point in the game, you got Chris Burgess, you got Shane Battier. So you talk about when it got to the point where I'm in the game, and no matter I'm jumping as high as I can trying to rebound against them. by the second half, I was just staying on the ground pushing.
Different.
Let me just push some cats and see what's happening.
But that was our thing, Haas. We were always undersized.
Right.
No matter what. Right. Like, we ain't supposed to be no big men.
Yeah, we both.
But that's where, again, though, you undersized, but like it's what not necessarily what everybody else just made you do. It was because that's what y'all was doing. Because there was people that was your size and taller that wasn't undersized.
That's where it come in. We didn't work hard enough.
You play the position that you play is what it's all said and done. And because all of us, and this is where when we talk about like what kind of things happen to make you where you didn't make it as far as you want to go or whatever, that whole thought process is that how do you fight for like your career and what position you want to play and all of that stuff, because coaches, what we know about coaches is this, man. If what you doing is working, they finna probably go along with it.
Keep doing it.
If you get out there and you talk about I'm a point guard and you get the ball and you turning that mug over and airballing, you ain't finna have no opportunities unless you play on a team that your daddy coaching or something like that. That's where the hard work comes in. For a lot of us, we didn't have that opportunity. And so when you got to a gym and you're playing, like I think about like me playing on some teams, I go get on a triple threat team, right? On a triple threat team, got Max Satangelo, Tyrone Manlove, Jay Frank. These are the guards. Then they go, okay, the bigs, you got Hazel Wesson playing the 4, Mike Doliak playing the 5. All right, now what position you in the play, Earl? Is you the point guard? I think I can get with this dude, Matt, but on being straight up on a professional level and what he did consistently, he was clearly a better point guard. Now you go, okay, all right, that's one spot. It's only 5 of them. That's one of them that you ain't got. Okay, what you finna do now? Are you the 2 guard?
I'll be right back.
You ain't taking me.
I see these 2 wings that we got running the wing. Both of them shooting deep threes and both got hops at about 6'4", 6'5". Okay, you damn sure wasn't playing power forward over Zell, and Dolly's 7 foot. So now what you gonna do? You keep on trying to out dribble Matt. I can try to fly higher than Tyrone and Jason. You go, yeah, I better try to play some of this defense.
Yeah.
And try to find this, if I want to sniff this court, because this is what's presented. Or you go to another team, and this is what D-Son was talking about when went and played with SEI. Mm-hmm. Then you go to play on the SEI team, total different. I mean, I'm the same human, but I get on this team, and now my game transfer better because I'm getting more opportunities. Mm-hmm. My confidence is different. And so that's why I say, like, when your game don't travel with you, you got to look at your game, because LeBron James, I'm sure when he played basketball, no matter where it's at, for everywhere he's ever played at, for whatever reason, he's been comfortable being him.
Yep.
Period. So, like, if you good enough, or you willing to fight for it enough and do what you got to do, it's one or the other. But you can't not do it and then just be like, well, that's not a part of me. Nah, yeah, that is a part of you, man. Like, you can't pick and choose what arenas you want to take your game in, when we all know that people's looking at your full body, man. They're going like, man, either it's in him or it ain't in him. I'm like, when I played with triple threat, for whatever reason, man, when Howard Avey was there on the side, the ball felt like a weight ball. Yeah, it just was. You could just feel energy or something. But then I'm like, man, as soon as he left, I'm like, damn, now my jumper feel wet again, man. What is up with this, man? And so I had to look at that. Am I gonna give the credit or blame to Howard? Nah, man. The credit or blame is the self. And so if I would have had my game travel with me, it would have been good no matter what. And that's what I say, man, those 2 years where I didn't ball out the way that I know I like, the way that I have played in previous years, that was all self, man. You know,
that's my point, though.
To have confidence in you that you ain't got in yourself, you tripping. Like, you gotta.
That's my point, though. That's where the hard work comes in, because I think even for yourself, if you would have been shooting 500 shots a day, it wouldn't have mattered what the hell Howard said.
That's
you know what I mean. Like, I know for you, from what I saw and what I knew, you were working hard playing. Like, you would go to the gym all the time and play. But like you said with Beans, you wasn't doing like the skill stuff to individual skill build each individual skill. Like that. Right. That's what I mean about the hard work. Because even though like the game I showed and my body of work is what it is, I could have put in more work. I put in a lot of work. I could have put in more. And then if I put in more, my body of work changes. Like, it could have been a little different. You know what I mean? And for you, like, man, shoot them 500 shots a day. You're an 85% free throw shooter. You're a 40% 3-point shooter. How does that change your career? Already having mastered the defense and the athletic part of being a guard, like that changes your career big time. If Haas would have been able to master getting in shape and then being a guard, being able to play number one, defense, moving your feet, but then being able to play with the ball, you already had like the skill to touch, you know what I mean? And you could have like the post move skill, but having some of those, even like 2 or 3 skills as a guard. Beans, being able to handle and being more of an athlete. Like, there's some things you could have did to be more explosive, to be able to maximize what eventually turned in to being a dead-eye shooter. It wasn't that coming up, but what would it took to get that a little bit earlier to where you can now work on your game to change your life? IG, as you were almost like Earl, where as a defender and an athlete, like, you had that down. And then you had, I think, a little more floor game where you actually really set people up and played the point on a Chris Paul type of level. But then, I mean, you know, offensively, you were challenged at times. Like, if you added that into your game and really maximize or put that on the same level of what you were able to do other things at, you know what I mean?
IG, how was your in high school? Like, what was your numbers in high school?
I think my senior year is pretty much when I took off, because I was still playing behind 5 seniors, 6, 7 seniors actually my junior year at Fairfax. My senior year I probably was averaging like 23, something like that, 25. I don't know, but I was more of a shooter in high school, and I knew my transition to the next level, I was going to have to learn how to play point guard. Right. I could handle, but my handle wasn't all the way tight. So it was some things I was working on coming into the level. The thing about my offensive prowess is, I remember my freshman year when I got up and, you know, we come to practice and come together with all these dudes. I remember when I had a spell when I started missing, and motherfuckers would like talk shit, you know, make fun of the mechanics, because when I used to shoot, my elbow used to be out in the early stages. So I remember, and Hodge, you know this shit, because I took that shit to heart. I started working on my mechanics during the season, which a lot of motherfuckers won't do. Yeah. And I remember bringing that shit in. I used to do a lot of shit, and it was to a point where my confidence offensively was affected because of the peer perspective, you know, the coaches. And like, I felt like motherfuckers felt some kind of like, oh, he can't shoot or blah, blah, blah. And then so it was funny because, you know, I would have spurts and moments throughout every year. But it wasn't until my senior year, and when I remember looking at the schedule, and I was like, damn, man, this shit is about to be over with.
Yeah.
And it hit me. I was like, you know what? I ain't going out like that. And my last 12 to 15 games, I was averaging double digits. I was scoring double digits the whole time. You know what I'm saying? It became a thing for me to press the issue. But by that point, it was too late in terms of any real effect. But nevertheless, those things always set me up for the opportunities that follow college. And, you know, just one of those things like now, with being said earlier, I don't feel like it was my thing to go through this to learn to give back. But what I do realize is that I have traveled the road and I learned a lot of lessons and I paid attention to everything.
Absolutely.
So now as a teacher, as a coach, I'm very, very particular, and I watch for a lot of the small details that I know affect. I understand the importance of putting life into a player that can't do it for himself, or that it will allow him to lose it for himself. You see what I'm saying? Like things that a lot of coaches don't do, and they expect and they get mad. Like, you know, when you building or working at development, and development is crucial if you are a coach to know how to maximize. So I just took what I learned from my personal journey now, and that's what I'm doing. But man, yeah, when I saw those lights come on, I was like, man, this shit is over with. I was, you know, you look back and like, damn, why wasn't I doing that shit the whole time?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, there was moments like when we was playing at Air Force, Haas, and I think that game I might have hit like 2 or 3 threes, which is, you know, uncommon for me. But right after E-Main went down, you remember I even stepped up my shit then too. It was like one of those things where it's like, fuck, that he was our main dude. And now I know that we ain't got that firepower like that. So it just makes me, I'm hearing Earl, and I'm glad to hear Earl take the self-accountability for his lack of production at whatever time of stage of his career, because ultimately we allow people to affect our energy. And that's something that, you know, maybe it came from single parent, not having that male influence, teaching me this, teaching me that. Maybe it came from the upbringing. Who knows what it was, but I wasn't strong enough at that point to deal with it in a way that was going to be most prosperous or beneficial for me.
Yeah.
And I was always a dude too that didn't want to ruffle the boat, so to speak. It was funny because off the court, I was perceived as that. The Portland State, oh, there go this LA dude. Oh, IG, he crazy, he wild. He always getting into shit. But
on the court, you fitting in.
Oh man, if at the very least, you will put me on and you won't miss a beat in terms of fluidity, chemistry, boom, boom, bam. And if you're looking for that offensive thing, it depends. Then now you're making decisions. But that's because I wasn't displaying that consistently, you know, over a course of time. Right. And that's all good. And like you said, D, once you leave college or whatever program that you play for that kind of maybe place restrictions on you or make you feel a certain kind of way, you start playing with a freedom. Mm-hmm. And when you start playing with a freedom, that's when you start realizing, you know, well, it was me. I'm the same nigga that was in that situation. Now, they were projecting stuff and maybe, you know, I'm allowing that to affect me. But at the end of the day, why did that affect me?
Absolutely. And then I think all of us have had a story of shooting and getting psyched out, knowing you could make that shot. But like you said, the teammates saying this, the coaches saying that, the crowd, whatever it is, you get psyched out. But what removes that psyched out feeling is only repetition. The only thing that's going to remove that is by getting more and more reps to the point where I don't give a damn what y'all say. Exactly. I feel like every one of these is going in.
You live in the habit, the routine.
Mm-hmm.
I'm listening. I got to finish. I'm listening to a podcast right now on Duncan Robinson on a JJ Redick. He's talking about this particular topic in itself, and he's like, some people, they start missing shots, and he goes, then they're like, oh, I'm gonna go shoot extra shots. He goes, man, that's basically saying like the consistent work I put in every day, like that ain't enough. You know, like he's like, if I go 9 for 10, am I doing? He's like, I trust my work every day, and he said, when I'm missing, I just do my best to stay to go. Just keep doing the routine. Just keep doing. Oh, you don't be caught up in that. Just keep doing the routine, the same thing. He's even saying in the game shooting like because like we're saying it takes us over here. What brings us back in center? We ain't even knowing we gotta be centered like that. Like this is it's foreign information. We can talk about it now. So that's real stuff. And Earl, you touch on it. Okay, hey man, jump stop, pump fake. Hey, make sure you backdoor and he overplays you. Okay, that's basketball. How in the fuck do you teach this? Hey man, you know, we're talking emotional awareness, meditation, mindfulness, mentality. Absolutely. Yeah, that's a whole. You can have that and not basketball and be in condition. I think you can probably still be dominant on the floor. His name is Dennis Rodman.
I think
his name is Dennis Rodman. No, I was waiting for. I like you say that. I already threw the gauntlet down. His name is Dennis Rodman.
I hear what you're saying, but I think that especially at the pro level, you're starting with that certain level of stamina and body. Well, you would think that I'm Duncan Robinson. I'm a shooter in the NBA. The only way I'm going to stay here is by remaining a shooter. So you would think that as a professional, they're putting in the work to still be a shooter. And that's where so you have that baseline. You got to at least get yourself in shape and at least do that. And then I totally agree where that mental part comes in after that. And now I think some people like at the free throw line, LeBron. I don't think LeBron is not getting shots up at the free throw line, but he's shooting less than 70%. You don't think he's getting reps? He does everything else to prepare himself. You don't think he's getting reps at the free throw line?
Gets him every day.
I think he's getting his free throws in, but mentally he's not able to calm himself down.
That contradicts everything you just said, because you just said what alleviates, what eliminates that inconsistency, all that shit is preparation. Repetition and preparation.
Yes. And then the mental thing that Beans was just saying comes into play where now Duncan Robinson is getting these shots in and then he starts missing. Now, does he beat himself up in the head because he's missing, or does he trust that I know I'm getting these shots in? I think LeBron is I just can't believe he's not getting reps in when it's this much of a factor. He got to be getting them in, but I think he beats himself up and puts so much pressure on himself.
So that's
he's not able to take that next step and actually make it apply in real time.
For the standard.
No.
You don't think he's getting shots up though at the free throw line, IG?
No, that's like saying that your boy Giannis, Greek Freak, don't work on his free throw shooting.
I think they're getting them up.
But the thing is, and this is for all of us, and the reason why when we talk about who was better than who at what time in their lives and their careers, what the key thing is this thing called pressure. Like the pressure changes.
That's right.
Between what years, the pressure changes between what levels, and pressure changes between what situations. There's a lot of people that are good, but then, man, there's pressure points, man, on a lot of on everybody.
Real.
And
in life.
If you ain't ready for that pressure to handle it at that time, it takes over you. It don't mean you can't shoot, like, because we all can shoot, but I'll tell you what the pressure do is it make you remember your last shot. And it make you remember that kind of stuff where people that can overtake the pressure. Like when I think about Steph Curry, I was just talking about him tonight, man. I said, the thing that, again, and IG was saying, I don't know, like all of the moving parts that go into a person's psyche, but I'm sure having your daddy being Dale Curry and being NBA born and raised damn near.
He's so confident.
Like he had an internal confidence in him where when you watch him play the game, man, we've never seen somebody play the game of basketball as relaxed and as loose as that man played the game. And I believe that he been playing that same way probably since
whole life.
middle wee ball. And
against Vince Carter.
He played just freely style. Don't mean he don't have times that he missed shots and do all that, but he didn't develop such a approach. I remember Beans, we talked about, man, what's your approach to it?
Yep, we were
His
heavy on
approach
that.
to the
Remember that?
game is so professional and it's so like unscathed by some performance,
win in the
somebody's opinion of him. Anybody get a coach that don't think he the best this on the team, man, don't none of that stuff matter because he didn't prove it where he wasn't the most highly recruited. There was people that was telling him he wasn't this and wasn't that, but man, his self-confidence that he had in self, man, made him go out there. And when we watch him to this day on the highest level, man, I swear he sound like the Benny Hill music be playing. He be throwing around and he just jack it up. And you just be like, damn.
Doing the same game.
Then look at the game, and then before you know it, you going. And I think one more thing about pressure. The best things in order to master pressure is you have to be able to master failure. And a lot of people, that failure, what people say, failure with the coach, whoever it is, you ain't mastered it yet. And in order to be the best at it, you look at baseball players.
That's a great point.
Golf,
That's a
golf
great
players, golf athletes. Them dudes, man, they've mastered failure, man, because like you talking about when you can not even hit 50% and be great.
That's
you know what I mean? 35 batting average, shooting percentage.
Kobe airball 4 times.
Steph Curry shooting 40% from the 3-point line, and that is like all time forever high. So you're talking about what's an average 3-point shooter? That's a good 3-point shooter. 30.
Yeah, they in the 30s.
35%.
35 is considered.
It's pretty damn good, right? You know what I'm saying? But then a person, you thinking to yourself, though, as a person who's feeling the pressure of 3-point shots, you won't even give yourself a chance to shoot enough time to have a 3-point percentage because you so thinking about the last shot or whatever the hell is going on. Where Steph Curry, man, he's going into the game going, man, I'm getting 10 threes up.
And I'm prepared.
I'm like, I'm getting these 10.
You think he's getting that feeling more?
I couldn't get 10 threes up in a season.
But you think he's getting that feeling more with the upbringing or with his work, with the reps he's getting up? Because I think there is a real physical and there is a real mental part of that. There's both of those. You got to start with the reps, I think, of the physical part, and then that mental part comes into play.
I think he was born Dale Curry's son.
What Earl's talking about, the mental.
I hear you.
The mental piece is huge. The mental piece is huge. What Earl's talking about, when you got a mentality where your dad is Dale Curry, everything ain't on the line with just this. It's a different.
That's a great point, Haas.
So just going back to when we were talking about how all of us play basketball at some level. We all play college basketball, and you think about we all of us could look at ourselves in the mirror and say, "Man, I wish I would have did this better. I wish I would have." And I know for me personally, I would probably tell you I didn't care enough for anybody. I didn't care. You know what I'm saying? Like I made it to Portland State off of just what I was born with. It wasn't no extra dribbling. It wasn't no extra shooting. It wasn't no extra nothing going on.
Well, Haas, I don't know if you know.
You didn't stay in his house and kept you up working out.
And it worked.
Haas, I don't know if you know, but y'all was the Huxtables for a while.
No, but
y'all was like the epitome of the black family.
Like for me,
doing good.
Well, yeah, definitely that. And of course, you know, from the outside in, you see certain stuff. I got to see more than everybody else just because he was around and
man.
So you see that.
I was the Huxtables.
But the thing about it is that piece right there. What Daniel talking about is that my dad wasn't no athlete. I was the only athlete ever to come up. Probably the same for all y'all. None of our families, we didn't have no people in our family that was athletes. And so for me, my whole goal was I just wanted to get to college and get college. That's what my dad told me. All I wanted is college paid for. After that, there was no expectation on me to succeed in basketball. There was no expectation. The expectation,
he wasn't in that world before. He didn't really know the world.
Expectation was get to college, because what I saw was I didn't see basketball as this what I'm about to do. I was looking at my dad saying he doing good off some business.
Already,
so that's what I want to do.
Absolutely.
So basketball, I wish I would have did it a little differently, just in terms of I feel like my skill. If I would have took the time and effort to do it, I feel like I could have did a lot more. Just because what I was doing was based off of I was last one into practice, first one out.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, they working out at I'm going back to the dorm, man. I'm out.
And just with our size, Haas, if we were in shape, we could be 3-and-D players.
Man,
we have more, just with the DNA lottery, we have more of a chance than IG, Beans, and Earl.
Well, there's
just
things in terms of
DNA
flashes and stuff that I knew I could. Yeah.
I'm a motherfucker.
There you go.
Hey, and I got paid to play this game, so I
got a little money.
Short yourself. Say if you would have did more, you could have did it like he just said.
I did say that.
But I think I have a better chance.
Hey,
come on, get out of here with that. Get out of here with that.
Damn, talking about the tell of the tape.
Yeah, put your feelings away. If you were 6'4", if you were 6'4", IG, where would you be?
I was 6'4".
You'd have had another season of professional.
Get out of here with that. Exactly. That's all I'm saying.
We say that, we project that with the size and the height, but we've already broken all this down on this conversation that a lot of these things don't always matter. Like you could be tall, and not have a mentality. You could be short and have a fucking mindset and overachieve.
Very true. But if you have
actually, you're right then. Because with my mindset, if I was 6'4",
hey, if I was the biggest one, I'd be like,
that's all. That's all.
You have your mindset.
That's it. That's it.
Right. We all feel like
if I was my brother's size. But
it's not because of size. I said if I was 6'4", with my mindset and work ethic, that would have definitely helped me, put me even in a better position.
Right.
But not just for me to be taller. No.
That's my point. And my first thing I said about myself is I didn't work hard enough to be my size to be able to make it at that.
Right.
Because I acknowledge that. I didn't work hard enough to be a guard at my size.
But IG had the same work ethic Ime had. If IG would have worked out, if IG was 6'5", it'd be a whole nother story.
No, but IG, no, I disagree, because IG was on them girls, whether they was on him or not. And IG, we was kicking it. We was enjoying
that's what I was gonna say. It like Hassan and Beans. I always, I look back to this day and I always was like, why did I never grab everywhere in my life, everywhere I've been, every level, I always gravitated towards a nigga that worked hard, that got my mindset. And I put in that work when no one else would, just like E. Yeah, but Daniel is solely correct. I was hooked. I was attached to the worldly shit. Like I wanted to hang out. It was important for me to hang out, to be cool, to drink, get fucked up, bitches was never nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's an abundance,
Vacation Island was for a reason.
And I didn't prioritize. I was, getting to college, I would be like, I ain't fucking with no hoes. I'm about to go work out. When I got to college, I like, man, what?
It messed up. And he got
fun.
I had a terrible start from the beginning because he got roommated with the sauce. Hey, he had no chance. He had no chance.
Roommate.
Like, man.
It was fun though. And that's where, looking back at it, there's no way I would say, there was fun in going out. But in those moments where I really played good on the court and really are getting those feelings of the endorphins, the adrenaline, whatever comes with dominating in basketball, it didn't compare, not even close. Like we could have had all of that fun. You could add all that up. It doesn't add up to that. And so to being able to, like Ime did, like, no, I know this is fun, but I want that one.
Like it at that moment, it was more important for me to be like, nigga, I'm good. But look at I get hoes, I get these experience and opportunities. And I heard y'all, we spoke on it last podcast. I remember it was like, y'all was like, look who get the last laugh, so to speak. A motherfucker that sacrificed during the time where college is arguably one of the best experiences of a young man or woman's life or athlete's life. I mean, you are literally being paid. You're getting catered to. You're like a superstar. You're put on a pedestal. People give you the respect normally that they wouldn't get a nigga walking down the street. You know what I'm saying? And that sometimes can be intoxicating. All the things and opportunities that come your way from being associated. And E did a fabulous job of just kind of pushing all that to the side and staying down the line. And now, you know, during this stage of life, that's what I remember y'all saying last time is, you know, oh, look at who gets that laugh in terms he's married to a bad bona fide, you know what I'm saying? He, you know, had an established career, yada, 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 right? That's another thing as young fathers, are we going to drip that down to ours? You know, are we going, you know what I'm saying? Right. We learn from our situations. Do we pass that down or do we, you know, perpetuate the same? You know, that's why it's important for me, you know, right now, I'm more than a coach. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm a coach, I'm an educator, but I'm a teacher of life, man. I'm a teacher of all of these things, like, because these are the things that I experience and pay attention to. And they're important, you know? So a guy gotta understand the importance of sacrifice. A young man needs to understand that, and you know, he needs to understand it at an early age.
Right. Well, I would say moves too, us in, like you just said, as a father, people with kids and people who you're trying to get them to play sports, you know, as a father, you got two roles when you're trying to do two things. I know that for me, having, you know, Earl, having Bino, having even Daniel, and even when you come to town working out with my kids, there's certain things that you need, they need to hear that from somebody else because it can't be from dad all the time.
Absolutely.
As a dad, you got to play those two roles where, there's some stuff you can give them, me being an ex-athlete and being an ex-college player, D1 player and doing all that stuff, I can give them that. But again, you still want to be able to, for you to be that guy they can come to outside of when they're, you know, somebody else. So having somebody push them, like for Isaac, having Earl and Bino just pushing them and pushing them, like for me to him, I'm like, hey, I said right now, I said, if you don't do nothing else to me, you just succeeded. You made it what you're doing. And then having now, I got Khalid with Bino and Kareem with Bino, like, you know what I'm saying? Like right now, I mean, those two got a chance to be better than me and Isaac. You know what I'm saying?
Right, earlier.
Yeah, because they got a chance. They're gonna be big, like 6'5" guards. You know what I'm saying? So that's key, especially being a father. You can't, you know, if you have one son, that's different. I feel like you can be more, you know, when I look at like the leader, what he did with Jazz and all of them, it's different because that's a different bond you have when you got one. But when you got multiple, you have to be able to say, okay, how can I be able to balance the two?
Delegate.
That's why you got to lean on people you trust to be able to say, okay, like, you know, for me, I got to have, you know, the Bino with them where he working out with them because the way that they can, you know, we got to come home together. So the stuff I want to say, Earl remembers, even though I didn't have to come home with me at night. And so there was some times, you know, with Isaac, I didn't want that with my other ones that I had with Isaac, you know, because there was,
and that kind of goes in. That kind of goes into where we can kind of, and that's a great segue to what we're trying to do here in terms of the call outs, because like we were saying last week, where we know the observation and the what we're presenting as, especially as fathers, as the head of the household, is going to play a big part into what is going to transfer on to our kids, and same way into our players, even if we're coaching them and they're not our kids, like what we're willing to do, and then them seeing the different sacrifices we're willing to make. So in terms of the call outs, I know we had the Luciferase mRNA last week, the challenge to call us out to go look up some information on that. We had the no fast food from Haas. The mRNA was from IG, then no fast food from Haas. We had the drinking water from Early. And then I said eating 1 fruit and 1 veggie. And Beans wasn't here last week. But I think us being able to implement those things ain't going to do nothing but be good in terms of what we're trying to pass forward. And I can say for myself, the fruit and veggies and the water were fairly easy. I filled those pretty much even before we said we challenged each other to do it or call out to do it. The luciferase and mRNA, I looked that up, got some good information on that. And it's complicated. Like it's still in terms of really understanding and grasping everything. If I had to make a choice right now, I still wouldn't be as informed as I want to be. There's more stuff that I want to get on top of. And then when it goes to the fast food, I got to come clean. That night, I had a Sonic burger that I hadn't finished yet. And I forgot. I would have said that. I would have said it that night, but I forgot about it. But I'm coming clean. Whatever I owe $1 or some push-ups. I got that.
A whole day. He got right off the meeting and went go got some shit.
You ain't gonna let me finish.
I'm
almost done.
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
Yeah.
I'm almost done.
Boy. That's my boy.
Hey.
So I did.
Tell them niggas. Man, tell them niggas. Man.
Hey, man, let me finish, man. I did, and I'm coming clean. So I finished that burger. That same night, wifey came home and she had a box of Popeyes. I had 1 piece. That same night, I had 1 piece. And then the whole 2 weeks, I had 1 piece of Domino's pizza, a small one. It was a medium, so it wasn't that big. It was a medium.
This whole thing,
and that's the whole 2 weeks. That's my coming clean. And other than that, because really them other things was kind of easy for me in terms of what I already want to do. The fast food is something that I slip on. I'm driving by something and I end up grabbing it, or having a family. This is easier to go do that instead of trying to cook or prepare something. But them 3 things, and I was still proud of myself even after that. So go ahead, bust my balls. I got push-ups, money, whatever we're gonna put on it, and then let's hear what y'all got.
Well, hey, for me, I would say that first week I did eat fast food.
Man, it's coming clean. That's all.
Steakhouse sandwiches to count.
This past week, I haven't ate no fast food.
Here we go.
So making salads every night. I got a salad waiting on me right now.
Progress.
I see you.
That's progress.
The water and all that, that's easy. The vegetables, that's easy. And then I've been cool outside of the
Trash.
The first time, and I went through the line, ordered everything, and then thought about
Oh man. Yeah. That's why we doing this.
Yep.
That's the whole point.
But yeah, so everything this last week, I know I've been straight, but the week before I was like, oh man. And so yeah, man. but at least just at least now thinking about it, saying, oh, let me do something else.
Right. For real.
Playing that
That's why
seed
we
in
doing
there.
it, man.
Yep.
To change, redirect a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all got.
I can say that I don't think I hit none of the goals.
There you go. I saw you drinking water.
No, I did drink water, but I don't think that I collectively drank.
You got some days.
What I'm saying is I don't think that I collectively drank a gallon of water each day, but I do drink a lot of water. The fast food, I was doing good for a good minute, and then that shit went down the drain.
It's a good minute.
I can but I have with the fruit and vegetables, I probably have one of those, honestly, probably a day. But
hold on, what's a good minute for fast food?
I can say
You said what's a good minute for the fast food? You said
I mean, I don't even want to say, man.
What's a minute, man? Come on, man. That's why we do it.
That's why we here.
A real minute? A real minute.
Yeah, like today.
1 minute.
Hey, you know, I just had a cold sandwich. But
Oh, well, you said you was doing good at
no,
first.
yeah, let me tell you what I did, because I did a lot of things wrong. So there's a couple things that I did in replacement, or I don't even know if replacement's the right word, but some other things I did. Well, my juice game, I got on that a lot stronger over the last. Like I've been drinking a celery juice, a 32 ounce celery juice, and a 32 ounce of carrot juice. I did that for like a week.
Big time.
And then this last week, include today, I just got a treadmill, and I've been doing 2 miles a day.
There you go.
And
That's
so
big time.
I did that, but I ain't gonna lie, man. All that other stuff.
He said it. I did a lot of wrong.
Yeah.
Well, did you look up the Luciferase?
Not after that day that we talked about it. When we talked about it, when we was when we kind of sent it out. That was all the information I had about it. Was that day when we sent it out.
Okay. I mean, I think we should figure out some type of.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like I would owe something, some push-ups or something, whatever. Because and I've been that's another thing. I did the 2 miles, and then I did 100 push-ups a day.
Damn.
There you go.
On the treadmill?
Yeah.
You ain't. You see, you did that on the treadmill?
Yeah. Yeah.
There you go.
2 miles on the treadmill. It took me probably like about 30, 35, 40 minutes to get it. I wasn't hauling ass.
You got to work your pace.
Yeah, I just tried to get a good pace, man. That number 4 was good for me.
Your pace.
And that's just a good, cool little pace. But
I think it's cool if we hold each other accountable, whether it is push-ups, which I like the idea of. We fall and we pick ourselves up by. I mean, it ain't like we're monitoring and we're gonna watch each other do it, but you pick yourself up by holding yourself accountable to whatever number we say, or it could be $1 per violation or something where it turned into we got a pot and then somebody end up getting the pot at the end, or maybe the pot turns into something that we do together where we, put some money into something that we're able to, come together on. But I think some accountability like that it ain't nothing but good. You got anything, IG? I know that shit was probably easy for you.
I mean, there was nothing mentioned or brought to the table that I don't already do. So,
right.
If anything, I was just anxious to come back to here to see what the results was from you guys. See if anybody was actually taking that seriously, or if it was going, not take it seriously.
It was definitely on my mind.
Yeah.
What'd you say?
2 weeks from now, I need you to become a father.
You say you.
That's
the call out.
Balance all of that. It's balance all. Be on your own.
Yeah. I'm your father.
Nah, but it was definitely on my mind. Like it was something like when I had opportunities to get some fast food, because like the other ones I said I was already doing those, but when I had opportunities, like I ain't gonna do it just because I knew I was gonna come clean about whatever I did, and so I didn't want to come clean with no more.
Well, I mean, if you want to draw a positive aspect on it, I guess you could say that your omission is admirable and is a start. But I mean, the way I look at it, I mean, like, man, it's like I'm a coach looking at a player who's telling me he wants to fucking go to college. Yet and still, I'm gonna give him the blueprint and he can't seem to figure it out. So I can only look like, well,
do your best.
Well, if this is hard for you, then college might not be for you. That's how I'm looking at it. So I like that y'all actually are closing, you know what I'm saying? Your fallibility. But I would really love to see y'all really get on it, because the sooner y'all do, the better off everything in y'all world is going to be, including yourselves. But
absolutely. But don't you agree that it starts with intention and doing
starts with what?
That it starts with intention and doing it on purpose. Like when we have the intention of making these kind of choices, like it has to start with, I intend to do this. You know what I mean? Don't you think that's I don't know, maybe what you think?
Well, you got to have some intention or desire to get going in the direction. Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. So as a friend, you know, it is what it is. I ain't gonna be holding you to a fire, but as a man, I gotta expect what you say out of your mouth in that regard. I gotta hold you to a tape, to accountability, right? It's just that you got so many titles attached to you. You're not just a man, you a friend, you a father, you a husband, blah, blah, blah. So when I look at it, I'm looking at it from that broad perspective, but I'm gonna treat you like my friend, regardless if you get it or not. So, but as a coach, when you look at a player to say they want it, they might have the intention, but they ain't got the will or the effort or the work ethic or the desire. And you know what you do when you go behind closed doors? That nigga don't really want it. He ain't got it.
Yeah, but you see somebody where you just introduce them to something and you see they have the intention and the desire to get better at it, but they're not there, or they haven't all the way grasped it 100%. You can see the direction of where they're going. And I could roll with somebody like that, where I could see them intending to do it. Now, that only lasts for so long. You can't stay in that level of intention where you ain't moving forward to actual application. But I think if you have a player that you're like in that analogy that you're coaching and they're buying in and they're intending to get better at getting up in the morning to work out, but they miss some days.
They can attend all they want, but if they don't do it, then their intention don't mean shit.
You're not going to shut them down and tell them they're failing because they missed some days. You're going to tell them, nah, you need to do better, but they're not fit. You can respect the intention as a difference of someone who's not doing nothing, who ain't hearing anything.
Well, I'm going to be able to tell whether they own it or not, because I've been down the path already. And if they are, then I know how to deal with them if they happen to have struggle adversity during that developmental period. But if they haven't, then I also know the carrot to hang over their head to probably push their ass or light the fire to let them know.
Yeah.
Eventually, shit ain't gonna work out, or things are gonna change if you don't figure it out sooner than later.
Nah, intention don't last forever. I agree. It has to turn into application. What you think, Beans? You wasn't here last week. I don't know if you caught the episode to see some of the call outs and stuff, but what you think?
I didn't. I was gonna do my call out, just throw my own call out there. Read a book this week.
Ooh, I like it.
Good one.
We got 2 weeks. We'll do another episode in 2 weeks. So to finish a book, finish a whole book
that I need to read. That I don't know when I'm a slow reader, man.
I got 2 right here, but I got to finish my other one. It's the How to Influence Friends, but I just got this one.
Let me see it sideways.
Nice.
Turn it let's see how thick that thing is. Oh, okay. That's some good reading.
These.
So wait, you want us to finish the book or to get into the book?
Yeah, how many pages, G?
You want us to finish it or get into it?
Man, you can only do as much as you can. Like how I say he a slow reader. If it take him 3 weeks to finish a book, he just got to give us what he got for where he's at. Like, that's the difference. If he fucking intended to read a book and started to read it, but didn't finish it, you got to give him credit for that. But if the motherfucker don't pick up a book in 2 weeks,
right,
you got to cut his balls off a little bit.
Yeah, we saying the same thing.
But it's kind of the same
thing. Yeah, we saying the same thing.
The same thing.
Yeah.
Like, because we talk about the difference between completion versus starting like
intention.
I didn't drink a gallon of water every day. I said, but
you intended to.
Yeah, water. So just because like out of 2 weeks,
you didn't.
and I ain't trying to justify that, but I'm just trying to say that the similarities in
progress
conversation is we talk about progress in it, and there's a difference between somebody not drinking not a sip of water and saying I'm trying to drink a gallon of water every single day versus somebody to go out of 2 weeks. I did a week and a half, and then I did drink water during the other days, but I didn't quite accomplish this much. Or
think about it. The way you explained it, Earl, you wasn't like all the way transparent about it. You was trying to hide some of that instead of you didn't tell us how many days you drank water, even if it wasn't a gallon. You just said, "Oh, I started off good," and then blah. So you giving us generalized stuff that we can't nothing concrete to even come at you like that. So when niggas start talking to me like that, I look at him like the motherfucker that's on that bull. Like, that's what I'm saying. I'm gonna cut his balls off a little bit. Because what does that mean? Like, now, if you would have said, like, man, I started off, maybe the first couple of days I was on it. And then after that, maybe I was only getting like this much in. Like, all right, then I'm saying that. But you didn't hit us like that. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. That's part of where we specifically are calling each other out for these call outs. And that's why I was asking Beans, are you saying let's get into a book and really intend on reading this, or are we gonna have to finish it? And I think the intention of really reading and getting into it is progress. And now, like you're saying, IG, if you intend to get into it and you get the first 3 or 4 chapters in, you put it down and you don't finish, I think there's something to be said for that. And now we got to be moving towards completion in terms of. But if
I tell you, oh man, I started off good reading the book and then I didn't finish up, but I haven't given you no substantial, tangible, you know what I'm saying? For you to be like, well, okay, you don't know if me starting off good, like, so everyone has a different moral standard. So my starting off good could have been the first 2 pages or the first chapter. You see what I'm saying? His starting off good could have been like 2 or 3 chapters or, half the book, whatever the case. But this is my point.
You gotta finish.
Often the message when you don't be exact like that. You see? So if I came at you and said, all right, I only did a chapter and then I put it down.
I hear you.
Now you know the tangible quantity of what I did do and what I see or what I'm trying to communicate is progress.
This is the thing where I would say in terms of pushback is that when I was explaining it, I was explaining it roundabout, right? And then Daniel felt like it wasn't clear enough to Daniel. And then Daniel pried deeper into it to make me go, no, this is what I'm talking about. So then I have to explain it deeper because Daniel wasn't hearing what he wanted to hear. I'm saying
really, IG has a question, and I heard it was a good question, and I ended up saying the question when you said I was on for, I think you said a good minute or something. I was on for a minute.
Yeah, I was on for
what's a minute? Like what's a minute?
That's my point.
Like, that's all.
Then I tried to give it to you.
Yeah, I think a minute. Well, I didn't never get maybe I missed it. I didn't hear a concrete definition of what a minute was.
He said a day. He said today.
He was on.
Did I say today?
And at the end,
today, I heard you, dog.
He said a day.
I might have missed it. No, what I heard at the end, you said.
Ask Hassan what they heard.
No, I said today. Okay, that's cool. I might have missed it, but I'm saying I heard you at the end say I'm doing the water for a week and a half, and then I missed a half a week or something like that. I heard that part at the end, and I'm just saying like that's
what I'm trying to express is this. I can explain something just like anybody else is going to explain something. Now, if as the receiver hearing it, if I ain't hearing what I want to hear, I only can go, hey man, can you clarify that more?
Yes.
And then that person, then you guys can have that verbal joust back for clarification. But if don't nobody say nothing, and then at the end go, the reason why I felt this way when the example that I hear with Hassan, where I hear a book that's not all the way complete is satisfactory, but water that ain't all the way drank for 2 weeks, that is unsatisfactory. I'm looking at the compare and contrast going, these are more similar than I thought they was. Tell me where I'm wrong. And then you explain that it was a transparency thing. Then I came back and I said, well, with transparency, when asked and pushed upon what exactly are you talking about, I came back and said it, regardless if I wanted to say it or not, and I was saying it on my own way. I came back and said, today is when I ate some fast food. And then I was like, I did water this amount of time. So
yeah, I don't think you have no problem coming clean early. I don't think
that's what my point is. I feel like I did it, and now I'm going, but I'm saying I don't see what the difference is that much between if you read, like if Beans was to say, read a book, or not read a book necessarily. I want everybody to start a book and read a page a day.
Let's say it. Yeah.
Versus going read a whole book in the thing, and then now if you can't complete that, now I can say, well, shit, I started reading this page this day.
But no, that's not the same. Because if you read every day, you're giving energy and effort to that habit. See, fuck that. Don't be drawing no gray lines, man. Water is an essential aspect of human life. Reading is not. So if someone challenges you to read, you can only read to your capability, to your level. You see what I'm saying? And depending on the size of the book or the type of read, it may take you longer. So, but water is water. If it's a challenge and an effort to drink water, and you tell me you drunk a gallon for 1 day and then went the other 13 days, you didn't even try again. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not gonna say that it's the same, is any different, but it is different. Because I don't look at water as being a real challenge. And as eating is not something that you essentially have to do as a human. It's just it makes you better as a human.
Out of 2 weeks, what did I say I drank out of water for 2 weeks?
Huh?
Out of the 2 weeks, what did I say I drank for water out of the 2 weeks?
You said
you started off good. You did that day.
You just didn't drink
it now.
Huh? What did I say, Beans?
You said you drank water every day. You just didn't drink over a gallon. You think you got like 75% of the way or whatever.
Thank you.
I heard that.
That's what I said.
No, and that's why I mean, ultimately,
that's why I'm going, like, I don't understand how that's that part.
No, it ain't wrong, but that's where, and I think you don't have no problem of being accountable. But now, and I hear both sides of what we're talking about. And really,
I disagree with either.
I think that there's
reading is essential for life.
It is.
I would put reading.
I think all these things that we're saying.
Well, no. Being,
all of these
you
things.
can be a human being, don't never read nothing, and you can still live and survive. You can't not drink water as a human being. Period.
I believe you
but
are.
All these, I mean, putting levels of importance, I don't think is the point. All these things are important. And whether it's water, eating fruit or not eating fast food, or the knowledge that we're talking about, like all these things are, I don't think we need to put levels on it. I think it comes down to number one, the reason we're doing this, the reason we're doing this, and the reason we all
don't want no water.
The reason we all, but y'all ain't hearing me. The reason we all here.
I got yellow pea. I got some yellow pea.
There you go.
I got my
spread the light skin, spread the light skin myth. You perpetuating the light skin myth.
Hey man,
what I'm saying though,
I like my Coca-Colas too.
Hear me out though. No, I think that's wrong though. I think if you substitute all them sodas for the water, you'll reach whatever quota it'll be easier actually. But what I'm saying though, this is the point. The reason why we're here is because we have these relationships with each other where we're able to make a difference in terms of accountability. Maybe it's not above and beyond what you already have. Maybe it is, but we can still come back to each other and be honest about what we're accountable to. If there's someone in this group that's not willing to be personally accountable or is going to say, I don't think they would be in this group. Like there's a reason why we're here. So if someone's saying, I agree in this call out and I'm going to try and do this, we need to take people at their word that
value,
they're really trying to do this. And that's what I mean about intention. That's important. Like, we trust each other that our intention is to reach these call outs. And when I fail, like I said, I failed that night. I had a burger, it was half eaten from Sonic before we said anything. And then I forgot to mention it that night. But when I ate it, I was feeling a way about it. And then I end up saying, well, fuck it. I done already ate something tonight. I might as well give me one piece of chicken. But I was feeling a way about it. And I ate that one Domino's pizza, but that whole 2 weeks, it meant something to me that we did that together, that I knew I was going to be honest when I came to tell y'all. And that to me is the purpose. We are creating intention amongst each other to get better.
Yeah.
And wrong.
You know what, Bean? I think that was actually a really good call out, though. Reading a book.
Yeah.
You know, exercising the mind, you know, you can't never go wrong, regardless of what the material is.
Absolutely.
So is it realistic to say we could do 100 pages? Or is that too much?
I mean, I'd say
I think we just trust our intention.
go on your pace, Like you could get into the book, you could get into it, and want to just keep reading. Like, who knows?
I do 2 books.
Yeah.
I ain't got time to do 2 books.
I think for all of us, let's just make sure we touch and get in the book each day.
That's the point.
You're going on that process, because if you finish the book in 3 weeks, a week after we did the next meeting, you still a success. Yeah.
Still value.
I wouldn't say finish. I'm saying, for me, I got to reach a page number. If I can focus, hey, my goal is
we're not dictating what you read.
Yeah,
we just saying read something.
No, I didn't say what you read. I'm saying,
but
set your number.
Kind of in a sense, because what you read is no different than me going a gallon of water. Now, that don't mean you can't have 2 gallons of water if you want to. That's your prerogative. But if we're like, but where I'm saying, like, when Bean go just read a book, I'm going, if I just want to just try to like beat the system to go read a book, I'll go find a book that got less pages and read it.
That depends on your moral compass, your standard person, and that would come out.
A standard is what I'm doing. I'm saying I clearly ain't doing that, because if I was, I would have created a moral standard for a gallon of water. But I didn't. I said that even though I brought it up.
You could go read a documentary. You could go read a biography. You could go read anything that is substantial to you.
But that's why we're making the baseline right now that it ain't just read a book. It's, can you read every day? Like that makes some damn sense. Kind of like drink some water every day. Like,
well, then that means this. If you chose a little skinny thin book and you got done with that in, let's say, 3, 4, 5 days, then what if it was me and I chose that route that you described, and so to speak, then I'm going to pick up another book. Okay. I'm going to try to see how many books I can get in.
It could be 2 books that you finish.
Yeah, then
I'll say this though. I don't know if I'm going to read every day, but I'm going to definitely intend on reading a book.
Because look, when you go outside and read the stop sign, that's reading. Man, come on, quit playing.
No, I'm thinking about our intention. We have to be able to. We need to be able to trust each other's intention for why we're doing this.
Right.
Period. Right. Like, we got to be able to trust that.
That's why it shouldn't be in question what type of book you're gonna read. Just tell the dude to read a book and let him go choose something in his liking, and then let him go at his pace.
So for me,
my goal, hold each other accountable.
That's what I'm saying. The exact same thing you saying, but I'm saying, can you use that same analogy with water?
Water. Okay.
Ain't no okay. It's already done.
No. Because you told me, you told us, you said you did it one day. Now, here's the equivalent, Earl. Here's the equivalent, Earl. Maybe you start off good, and now you're only doing a half a gallon a day.
Okay,
for the next however long. I didn't hear you say nothing like
No,
that.
again, but everybody else heard me say it. Then you at the end go, look at first you made a big roar about how I didn't do blah blah blah, blah. And then when you admitted, oh yeah, I didn't hear you say that, and that's how long that shit lasted. I'm going like all of the energy that you put into telling me how it wasn't wrong. If you would have put that same amount of energy into saying, yeah, man, you right. Everybody else did hear you say that you drank water and that it was like to the equivalent of when we talking about reading a book, just keep reading it. Like I didn't feel that same energy. I felt more energy in the other way than I felt in you going, I didn't hear you say that, when everybody else is clearly going, we heard that. So now that's where I'm looking at you and going like the energy is different.
Let's backtrack, Earl. Okay. Can you rehash exactly what you wanted to tell us for that? So
hold on. Now, how about that? Let's have the other people that think they heard it rehash what they heard. So
I'm talking to the horse. I don't need to hear from them. I'm talking to the horse. You can tell me what you did for the last 2 weeks, and if you
Hassan, what I say.
So
did I drink water, Hassan?
Right.
That's my point.
Did I drink water?
That's what I heard. But look, real quick.
Did I say I drank a gallon of water?
That ain't the point, y'all. The whole point y'all getting down to. The whole point, y'all.
The way it sounded here, you taking all accounts. If you was in the gym and went to the water fountain, you drunk some water. Like goddamn.
That ain't the point. The whole point y'all saying is that Earl said something, IG missed it, and now he's trying to get clarification. And then when he missed it, he came at Earl. Earl was saying it was different than when you finally got clarification. And now IG saying, all right, I missed it. Let me hear it again. But y'all really are saying the same thing. Like
That's what my point is.
Going too far, but y'all really.
That's fine. Haven't you caught that we saying the same thing about the book versus the water?
Book and water, the same thing.
Thank you. And I don't know how to explain it no deeper than how you ain't seeing it is where I'm going. Well, maybe you do see it now, but
real quick.
That's what I mean. Y'all done already came to the same conclusion, but y'all still proving.
But I think that this goes to what you're talking about, Daniel, because why you keep talking about the intent on how we all got to believe that each other intent is. That's what you're talking about, is that you don't feel like IG believe that our intent is strong enough. And so what else you talking about it, Daniel?
Real quick.
Yeah, no, I do. Yeah. When I was bringing that yes, but I think that's for all of us.
Who was it directed towards? Me?
Real quick. Hey, I gotta go.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm gonna read 100 pages.
He been trying to get our attention all this time.
Hey, I'm gonna try to read 100 pages.
Oh,
I gotta go do the thing that stopped me.
And I'm not gonna be talking about no food tomorrow because I'm about to be eating wings and Polish dogs and tacos at Earl's house tomorrow.
Let's get a call out in first, though. Let's get a call out in.
I'm gonna read. My goal. I'm not gonna say I am. My goal is to read 100 pages in 2 weeks.
I hear it.
That's my goal.
I like that style.
I'm gonna read every day.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I'm gonna be on the beach in Hawaii reading a book.
There you go.
Stand out.
Yep. And then tomorrow I'm gonna try to eat no fast food.
Go drink.
I think reading is a great one. I think reading is a great call out.
I'm about to eat a bunch of bad stuff tomorrow.
Baja Fresh don't count, do it?
You know, it's fresh.
Well, here's my thing though. If you have a cheat day, is it gonna be every day, or is it Super Bowl Sunday? Now you can have your cheat day, and I think that call out should have some residual effect. Now, if it's gonna be that we're gonna hold it to the same standard, I mean, that's on us. That's where the personal intention comes into play. But I would like to feel that I'm gonna keep trying to not eat fast food. Like I said, the other things I already do with the water and the fruit, but I'm gonna keep trying to.
Are we counting like mod pizza like fast food? That's not
personal accountability. I mean,
fast food is like you got to go to a drive-through.
I think the best thing we can do is be cooking for ourselves. Anybody disagree with that?
Well, I think mod pizza cooks their pizza quickly.
I ain't asked you that. The best thing that we can do for our health is cook for ourselves. Do we
I think
agree or
that's
not?
the point. Is the cook.
We don't
I'm gonna
agree.
go get some Chipotle here pretty soon or Chick-fil-A, one or the other.
You don't agree. You think they cook
Hey.
more healthy than him.
I gotta
think-
go, y'all. I gotta go, man.
I'll see you tomorrow. Hot.
He going, I'm going too then.
You don't have it.
We've
Most
been out here
def.
3 hours, man.
Appreciate you being
Yeah,
here,
I
man.
Man, that's what I'm saying. We're supposed to be an hour
Man.
show.
Man,
Hey,
I
this,
got-
this is an all day. We just did 4 podcasts right here. Nigga.
You only can blame the
Slice all this up. This is the next 4 weeks. I'll see you in May. This all
I
splice it
gotta
all
zip
up.
to the script.
Hey,
I gotta
Hassan.
zip to the script.
Yeah.
So when
We
we
got
got
a whole script. We ain't even
we starting
We've
in
been
no
winging
time.
it the whole time.
Right.
Because
got
we've
a
been
whole
winging it.
script.
Yeah, we gotta
Hey.
set. Hey, we gotta. Hey, that's the thing.
Hey, the next
We gotta-
topic is liters of water. We're going over liters of
stick to
water.
the script.
Man, we had another great conversation, man. Don't hate.
I'm messing with y'all.
It's
Yeah,
great.
hey, we gotta start.
Crazy,
Somebody
man.
gotta be like.
Y'all gotta give me
And
15
I don't even
minutes
mind
coming.
a little bit of contention. Like that's what we do. We've always had these kind of conversations where I say this, you say that. Like
Yeah.
it's always
We
love.
just do it in the garage. That's all.
Intertwined. It's always.
Let's get
4
a structure.
hours in the
'Cause
spring.
I don't never really agree with too much of anything y'all got to fucking say. So.
You agree your forehead is big. You agree with that.
Hey,
Oh, Telly
Hey, man.
Savalas, fucking Xavier X-Man lookalike contest winner, nigga. Nigga,
Hey, I've been bald for a while, man. You got all the jokes
Hey.
out already. You got to give a new one.
Uh,
Your forehead getting bigger. That's new though. You got a new forehead, man.
hey,
Tell me
fellas,
what
man.
happened.
Off, man. I gotta go.
all right, y'all.
all
Man,
right, y'all.
this is a great one, man. I love y'all, man.
Love
I love
y'all.
y'all. 2
Guys.
weeks.
All right.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
I had these out there for y'all.
Right, man. Wakanda
Much
forever.
love.
Wakanda. All right, y'all.
That's not a nigga.
My God.